Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it. Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the Virtual World Sportscar Championship. Last round. Yes, it's the final round of the season. And we're here at Bahrain. I am JP. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Mr. Tom Cairns. And of course, as always, we've got Mr. Paul Glover in the background. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Some of the tracks that we've been to, let's bring you a quick run through of where we've been to this season on the schedule. You can see there, we went to Daytona, we've been to Sebring, Imola, with the season starting right the way back in February the 1st. Spa, of course, Qatar, Le Mans, Watkins Glen, Sao Paulo, 90 minutes of Kota, then we went to Indy, Fuji, Road Atlanta, and now we're finishing off here at Bahrain. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Let's have a look at the track map. It's going to be 5.41 kilometers in length, 2.2 miles, built in 2005, and with 15 corners. It's going to make it very, very exciting indeed. Normal orange zone, as you can see, right the way through round to turn number 10. Cannot be naughty between them areas, but it's going to be an interesting one. Let's bring you up to date with the keys to the race. Well, they're going to have to work with reduced grip levels. Fuel and tyres both need saving. Traffic handling in slow zones. GTs are going to be on 30 to 35 minutes. They're going to have 3 stops. They've only got the medium and wets to play with. Hypercars, of course, 20 to 24 minutes, 4 to 5 stops. And they've got the medium, the hards, and the wets. We'll bring you up to date with the standings. The Hypercars are first. And as you can see, Dan Kirby has wrapped it up. That is the end of it. He has wrapped it up. There you go. Job done. CMS Pro Red have wrapped up the team standings as well. The interesting thing, Dan Herlock and Cameron Barker are not here. Magnus Dahlgren, for Magnus to take the second place away from them two, he has to win the race. It's 38 points for a win, 27 points for second. 27 will not be enough. Even if he gets the bonus points, it will still only be on 200. So Magnus Dahlgren has got to win to basically take that position away from Herlock and also Barker. Teams, well, CKS Motorsport are battling away for P2 with Schultz, Dahlgren and Timon Suvic. They're going to battle Bell and Herlock. Now, as we said, Herlock isn't here, so that's going to be an interesting one. And to be honest, I'm going to see if Bell is here either, and Bell's not here either. So if either of these guys, Magnus is here, Timon Suvic is here, so SKS can wrap up second in the championship. Let's have a look at the Hypercar AMS. Going to be very, very interesting indeed. John Mayer wrapped it up, as we are aware. Jerry Chen, Vinicius Goncalves battling it out for that second place, of course, coming into the end of the season. Jerry Chen is basically going to be able to take that because of the fact that Goncalves has got a drive-through penalty that he suffered in Road Atlanta. So as long as Jerry can keep it on the racetrack and stay ahead of Goncalves, he should wrap it up. No George Angelidis, of course. So unfortunately, no George here either. He could possibly lose that 4th place to Eric Bonnet, who is on track. In the LMGT3 Pros, this is where it's going to be interesting, and this is where we're going to have to try and do some maths. JT Tammy, 338. David Junt, 317. Now, normally you would think we'd have to sit here and worry about it too much because JT has qualified in pole. We really do not have to worry about it so much because David Junt is not here. So David, as they are at this moment in time, that is how they will finish in the championship. JT Tammy, David Junt, Alan Holden, Walker cannot catch them. Team standings, Dark Thunder has already wrapped it up. BHR is already in second, and initial Porsche 911 is in third. In the GT3 AMS, Alexander McQuarrie has wrapped it up. Adam Gray will get second place if he keeps it on the racetrack due to the fact that Peter Meyer is not here either, but Peter has an opportunity to lose that from Stephen Miller, who is here. So Peter going from third could end up being down in 4th. The real battle at the moment, well, unfortunately, there isn't one. None of the championships are going to be up for grabs at this moment in time. It's going to be the battles for second places, partly due to the fact it would have been in the GT3 Pros, but there's no David Junt. So JT Tammy has wrapped it up. That brings you up to date with the championship. And with that, after you listening to me waffle on for the last 5 minutes, let's bring another voice into the booth as well. Mr. Tom Cairns. Tom, welcome in.
Hello, James. Hello, everyone. And we are here for the 13th and final run-in of this VWSC Modern Championship of 2025. The cars have been brilliant to watch throughout the season. For all started in Daytona, and now we are going to be finishing under the lights here at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. First hosted the Grand Prix in 2004. Now, the difference with this current layout to the first one they used in 2004, if you see turn 4, you can see how much blunter the corner is now compared to what it was in 2004. If you have a look at what it was like back in 2004, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But of course, it feels like an old school circuit now for the modern era of motor racing.
I am looking at that. I thought that would have been the other way round. 2004 is quite a sharper turn, whereas the current modern layout looks a little bit more sweepy. So maybe, I don't know, we'll have to have a look and see. Maybe it's just been opened up almost a little bit. It's like they've stuck a crowbar and they've just pushed it a little bit wider on that one. Where do we think things are going to happen here as well? Because we've all, if you've driven F1 games, we've all driven this. We all know the circuit and everything. I'm saying we know the circuit, we probably don't. Where do we think the main opportunity is going to get done here? Because to be honest, 12 to 14, 15 to 1 seems to be the main kind of era that I would be looking at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the overtaking spots. I mean, turn 1 is definitely one where we expect a lot of the overtakes to be done at, possibly turn 4 as well. If they're brave enough, possibly turn 10 and turn 11. And turn 14, there's plenty of opportunities with these machines, James, where overtakes could get done at. I think it's one of those circuits where it's going to be a bit of everything anywhere around this track.
The only thing I am worried about is literally the run from 9 to 10. The 9 to 10 layout on that is basically you can do a very tighter line on the inside, and you could do quite a wider line coming through 9 for 10 as well. It's kind of a COTA corner. It's one of them where there is double lines, and normally that means that if somebody's going to dive up the inside of you, you're not going to see them till late, and unfortunately it could all go in Pete Tong. So I am wondering if with traffic and everything else, 9 and 10, although could be an overtaking position, and maybe they will be an overtaking position, they could also be a bit of a fire spot for some of the accidents with the lower classes.
We shall see soon enough. And with, the race about to start very, very soon, and all the championships wrapped up, I think there'll be some drivers that'll be desperate to pick up a win at some point within their own classes if they haven't already done so. We are in the warm-up session, and we'll get a word with Ross Smith very, very soon when he joins us in the booth. I'm really looking forward to hear what he has to say on what he expects to see from this evening compared to how the drivers got on at other racetracks. And we've seen the strategy side of things as well with the GTs. 3 stops expected. But considering they're in slow machines compared to the hypercars, that's expected anyway. The hypercars are expected to do more stops at quicker times, 20 to 24 minutes 4 to 5 stops doesn't really surprise me too much. So what I'm looking out for, James, is to who is prepared to do one less pit stop compared to the others, because there have been some races this season. I think Kota was one of them, where someone who had won the race did so by doing one less stop compared to those who we thought were going to come away with a victory.
Yeah, and the thing for me, I think the interesting thing about that is it's really quite tough at times to try and save fuel. But on a circuit like this, where there is obviously, you know, long runs down into braking zones as such, is it really going to be that difficult, do we think?
It's a fuel save around the circuit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's going to be difficult. I mean, if there's one area around the circuit where we expect fuel saving to take place, it's going to be over in the second sector. I think for the rest of the lap, could be a little bit more tricky, but this is where basically easing off the throttle before you get to corners is what will decide who will be more efficient with their fuel and who won't. Because there have been drivers that have stopped out on the circuit on the last lap because they just simply haven't conserved enough fuel, or they miscalculated compared to the time limit that we've got. So that is worth keeping an eye out on, because there are going to be some drivers, I bet, who will take the gamble and be forced to do a little bit of fuel saving.
Yeah, what do we think? Why do you think the last race of the season they're going to worry too much about fuel saving, or are we just going to go and have it full blast? What do you reckon?
They'll want to go out on a high, won't they? So I would probably say there's going to be some taking some risks. Who that will be, I don't know. But I think those that haven't had as good of a season as they would like to have done will want to give it one good go to prove that they've got what it takes to compete in this series.
Maybe there as well. Elgo Busings in YouTube chat. Good evening, Mr. Reese, as always. 4 corners you can massively fuel save, but there is not many corners with much coasting. That's from a driver's point of view. So thank you very much for that one. It's going to be an interesting couple of hours, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, grab your popcorn, get your drinks as well, because you are going to need them. Because we have got a long one here currently at the moment. We've just obviously got done qualifying and we're in warm-up. We'll bring you some warm-up driving pictures currently at the moment as well. We're going to have a look at the grid, because apparently just been told everybody's in the pits. So there we go. Here is the grid for this one. Dan Kirby out in front. Magnus Dahlgren in second. Needs to win the race. Robert Molin in third. And Johnny Gutierrez sitting in fourth place. John Uyan in fifth. Finishes above Troy. Dad beats son. Timur Suvic in seventh. And then Michael Locke down in eighth place at this moment in time. Jerry Chen leading the Hypercar AMS with Daniel Scott and Ryan Paulbert Reyes, who's in a Hypercar. Finishes Count Calvez in 12th place. Surprise. Paulbert Reyes joins the Porsche normally in the GT3 Pros. Gilles Lalonde in 13th. John Mayer 14th. Then Eric Bonet. JT Tammy leading the GT3 Pros. And as we said, wrapped up the championship. So great job from JT. Stephen Miller is leading the GT3 AMS with Alan Holden behind him. Then Adam Gray and then Matthew Overton. And then Alexander McQuarrie, the GT3 AM champion, with James Walker and Jazz Whitfield at the back end. So that is your 23 cars here. They're going to be racing around this circuit, I'm sure. And before we know it, we're going to have some great action as well. We're just waiting for Ross. Ross is just doing the driver briefing due to the fact that Jerry is off testing somewhere at this moment in time, and unfortunately is not going to be able to make it. Whoa, where are we going with that camera? Oh, there's a gravel trap. So there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom, on the flip side of Bahrain, you know, how do we think the season has gone for some drivers? Do you think there's going to be some looking to sort of kind of make good for themselves after having a rough season?
Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be some drivers that will feel that a track like this, which I mentioned before, it's like a modern school ground, they'll want to use all their experience to show that they've got what it takes. So I think there'll be some drivers getting their elbows out a little bit, and will have a point to prove, no matter which class they've been competing in, and giving themselves some hope heading into 2026 with the new cars, which will be released in due course. But I am looking forward to this one either way. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of strategy involved in this, and some drivers playing all sorts of mind games. We'll see. But bearing in mind that depending on what time the race actually begins, if it begins in the daylight and sinks into darkness, track temperature and air temperature will play. Yeah, I think from what I've been told, it's going to be darkness. So we'll see soon enough. But either way, there'll be some drivers playing. It's going to be a game of chess, I think, with who will blink first to head for the pits, and then everything else will play out as it will.
We'll find out here as well. We have got Ryan Paulbert Reyes. Can we have a look at him for me, please? He's normally in a GT3 driving around, but Paulbert Reyes at the moment is jumped into a hypercar in the Hypercar AMS, sitting in the Porsche 963 is Ryan Paulbert Reyes. So this should be a fun one to see how he gets on with this. That's a jump for Reyes. GT3 to hypercar for the final round.
Don't see why not. I mean, he's been used to the GTs for a long time, but the handling of the hypercars will be different to what a GT has been able to, he's been able to accomplish with a GT. We'll hear from Ross, actually, from his experience, the difference between a GT and a hypercar, especially on a racetrack like this where the brakes are very much needed, because it's so easy to lock the rear with these machines because of how light they are and the amount of brake pressure you're having to apply. So this is going to be a different experience for Ryan Paulbert Reyes compared to what we've seen from him in the GTs. He's been stellar in the GTs, but this is going to be a different kettle of fish for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to see how he can handle this, whether or not he's going to be able to get it, how he gets on as well. I've just been told he's got 2026 on livery. I did not clock it in the first time. Thank you very much for that one. But he's got 2026 on the livery. Now, is he telling us that he is going to be driving that in 2026, Tom?
We'll see. I don't know what livery he'll be running, though. I mean, as much as, every driver will be having a different livery compared to others, we'll see soon enough. That is one of the Cadillacs on circuit during this warm-up session. He is going into pit lane. I think they're just doing their pit lane entry practices, because that will be a pivotal role. There will be a driver to serve a drive-through at some point, which will help Jerry Chen during the course of Vinicius Goncalves.
Goncalves will. He's got his drive-through to do. So Vinicius Goncalves will obviously have a drive-through at this moment. So that should help Jerry Chen. At the same time, with 4 minutes left to warm up before we get under green, ladies and gentlemen. So your last call if you want to go and get any drinks or anything. Do you guys know why he's in Hypercar AMS? No, because he fancied it. Let's ask Ross when he comes in. But is it because he fancied it? I don't really know. Is that right?
The livery that Paulbert Reyes is running.
What? Huh?
Sorry, I missed your question there, JP.
He said, do you guys know, in Elko Bussing said, do you guys know why he's in Hypercar AMS? And I said I didn't know why he's in Hypercar AMS. I was waiting for Elko to come and tell me, but unless I've missed. Yeah.
I think he was asking the question in the chat, James. I think that was the whole thing with it. But I think he was asking us why he was in the Hypercar AMS, because I didn't know about it.
Yeah, it could have something to do with their ranking system for next season, of course, as well. So that might have something to do with that. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be blatantly honest with you. Is there anything in the chat that he's going to be in, that we've missed, that he's in Hypercars? I don't know, that's why I'm asking. Oh, you are asking. Oh, maybe it's just because he wanted to go and run out in the Hypercars, and next year that's the car he's going to be driving. He has been in the GT3s for quite a while. So yeah, maybe he's just swapped over on that as well. The out there has said he's a silver driver. So yeah. Right, let's get this one going to be up and running. The formation lap has got underway. It's now going to be who's going to be able to handle 2 hours of driving round Bahrain. Who's going to be able to handle it, Tom? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Looking at the hypercars, Dan Kirby's been excellent all season, so it's difficult to look past him. I would probably say Jerry Chen, providing that Goncalves doesn't exactly make up all the ground once he takes his drive-through. I'd probably say he'll take it. In the GT3s, I think I have to say JT Tammy's been strong, but we'll see whether any of his counterparts have anything to say on that. I think the LMGT3s is probably the least predictable out of the four classes. It's anyone's game in that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Stephen Miller, of course, is going for second place or effectively, or third place effectively in the GT3 AMS. Not entirely sure how many points is he behind Adam Gray. He is 25 points behind. He's going to have to finish first, with Adam Gray finishing down the order. Stephen Miller at the moment is in first place on class. Adam is second in class. So that's going to be very, very interesting. We'll have to keep an eye out on them and try and do some maths there as well. Yeah, he's quick enough for pros, I'm sure, but I don't know what he's like finishing. I think at the end of the day, if somebody's been in the car for ages, Tom, and they want to change, is it a problem that they go and change cars for the final round?
Not as far as I'm concerned. Considering they're not in the championship fight anymore, if they were in the championship fight, they'd be in the GT, but if they can afford to just give the Hypercar a go, I can't see why not.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to be holding on to your hat time very, very shortly, as we will be up and running and underway. We're going to come into the left hand at turn 11 again. You can see there's another open corner that could lead to some problems. Sweeping up into turn 12, then we've got to run down from 13 to 14 as well on that one. So we'll see how this one goes here as well on that one, but it's going to be very, very interesting indeed, and we're going to find out what goes on here again. So we're going to just sit back, relax and chill out and enjoy ourselves, Tom, for the next couple of hours. Got Ross into the booth really quickly. Ross, welcome in.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. Sorry, I'm pulled away, taking over some admin duties, tag teaming actually with Matthew Overton, as George Angelides is off at Daytona doing some ARX testing with HRC. But yeah, we can dive into some of the more exciting parts of this race here. I'll let you kick us off.
Yeah, we're going to be green very, very shortly. It's going to be a rundown into turn number 1. Will be a right, then it'll be a short spurt to 2, which will lead to a left, right down to 4. And it's going to be very interesting indeed. Dahlgren to wrap up that second place in the Hypercar Pros. He has to beat Kirby. And unfortunately for Magnus Dahlgren, he took a nap on the line and he's just lost that second place right at the beginning. He's going to dive up the inside of Robert Molin. Molin's going to make it through the left-hander. This is not the start Dahlgren needed. He needed to be tucked up the back end of Dan Kirby, sniffing the exhaust fumes that comes out. And unfortunately he wasn't. Robert Molin is alongside him, bottom right-hand corner. JT Tammy leading the field in the GT3. Stephen Miller holding on to the lead in the GT3 AMS. Alan Holden, Adam Gray. Gray's got to stay with Miller. That's the important thing. If Gray wants to beat Miller in the championship or stay ahead of him currently at this moment in time, he has to stay in front of him. So Adam Gray has got to try and be as close as possible to Stephen Miller. But Magnus Dahlgren did not get that car going off the line, Tom. He lost that position to Robert Molin. They are side by side, further back, please. And then you can see the two of them running here at the same time. There are the two in the background. There is Robert Molin. There is Magnus Dahlgren. There is Johnny Gutierrez. It's going to be a run again. Dahlgren pulls out. Molin's gone for a squeeze on him. Dahlgren's got the inside line. Is he going to be able to make it work? This Molin, he cannot afford contact. Dahlgren does not need contact this early on, Tom. But at the moment, he slept off that line and it put him straight under pressure from Molin.
He did. He just fell asleep off the line, did Dahlgren, which was enough for Molin to send one to the outside at turn 1. But Dahlgren has been able to respond to that by the time they got to turn 11 and go back into second place, despite the fact they banged wheels through that particular section of the course. And there is Stephen Miller, you can see on the bottom end of your screen, he's just been passed by one of
Alan
his
Holden.
counterparts.
Yeah, it's
Alan
Holden.
Holden.
Yeah, Holden's just taking the second place away in the GT3s for him. But the more important thing for Stephen Miller is staying ahead of Adam Gray. We'll worry about it if it goes the other way. But Molin's just lost that place to Johnny Gutierrez on the main screen in front of you as well. Right, Molin, after a great start, is spending more time going backwards. There's going to be a little bit of argy-bargy. You almost lost the front end, Robert Molin, there as well. Relying on Gutierrez, Tom, to give him room. Couldn't really give him room at the moment, but now he's under pressure. Now this is where Molin's going to be a big boy. He's got John Uyan in behind him. Uyan tucks up the inside as well currently. Is he going to be able to make it through? They're going to be slowly, eventually going to be 2 or 3 wide, are they? But the guy's in behind him. See in the bottom right-hand corner. There you go. Uyan's off. John Uyan's running off at the moment. Alan Holden, Stephen Miller on the main screen and on the bottom right, because we're that good. We bring you up twice of the action here as well, Tom. This is getting a very fast and frantic beginning.
Yeah, it looks like John Uyan just basically got rebounded off one of the cars on the approach to turn 5. He's allowed 2 of the cars to go by, in fact 3 of them actually, because they cut across the middle part of the race. You just see some debris on the racing line there. I don't know if that's from Uyan's car or one of the others, but either way, Uyan is beginning to lose performance. It feels to me like Molin is lacking straight line speed compared to some of his rivals, and that could be one to look out for. Could it be that he's saving fuel at this early stage? A bit early to be saving fuel when you've got the pack right at your heels. And but yeah, I think Molin is just trying to find his own rhythm and run his own race, because he knows it's a 2-hour event. There's nothing really to gain so far, and we've been told that John Uyan's been penalised for going off circuit, which I think is very harsh, because he gave the positions back a few corners after he went off the circuit. Apparently that's a game thing actually, rather than the fact that stewards have given it, but nothing we can do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do some maths at the moment. Believe it or not, if Adam Gray... That's not right. My maths ain't got... Oh, blimey, ain't gone that good. Hold on here as well. Gray has got to finish a lot further down for Miller to beat him. So for he's got to be at least try and stay with him and get that second place. If he does that, Gray will be second, Miller will be third in the championship. No Peter Martin. Going to be very interesting indeed. On that moment in time, let's bring Mr. Ross Smith into the booth. Ross, we've had a fast, frantic start to this one, and at the moment for some of these cars, Dahlgren especially didn't get off the line.
Yeah, and obviously Dahlgren has a pretty strong car there. He's up into second place. He's not too far behind Kirby. I feel like he's pushing a little bit. We know Kirby generally, he likes to have a nice, quick, snappy getaway, and then he falls into a rhythm so that way he can control his resources. And Robin Mulling looks like he's attacking right now into Timon Suvic, but we saw it before in a few races where he's been able to play the long game. He's been able to really make that fuel-efficient V12 engine get him right to the end. So even though he falls back a little bit, maybe in these early segments, somehow he manages to hold onto his car, and he's able to eke out just a few more laps. And at the end of a 2-hour race, where it's just a little bit longer than what we typically have, I think that's going to make a pretty decisive difference for him.
Yeah, how do we think this is going to go, Ross? Are we going to end up with cars very, very spread out across the racetrack, or are we going to end up with this battle right the way through to the end of the race? Because 2 hours is a long time. A lot could happen.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of both. I feel like there are, just because of how diverse all of these cars are, and the way that the drivers like to have their strategies, you're going to get both. As you can see, there's quite a bit of gamesmanship a little bit here going on, as Michael Locke is now looking to the outside. He's trying to get around Mulling, and he puts the pass on, but can't hold it. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of this throughout the race, but also quite a bit of spreading, especially in that GT traffic. I think they're going to kind of settle in, and you're going to see a lot more of the gaggle of hypercars, like that train going through, and start to maybe trip up over the onesies, twosies as they're kind of starting to get into different segments. Yeah,
John Huyan in there as well. He's having a bit of a battle with Mika Locke currently. Oh, no, they're not. There they are. There we go. Back on the screen here. Huyan and Locke fighting it out currently at the moment. Uyan's got the position here currently. GT3's Gray and Miller. Give you a quick update. If they stay as they are, it still will be Adam Gray. He'll be on 286. Stephen Miller will be on 272. So that's what the situation will be anyway. For Gray to lose that second place to Stephen Miller, he needs Alexander McQuarrie to come in and start getting himself involved as well, and also Jazz Whitfield. So there's a lot going on here for Adam Gray to not finish second, but we'll find out as they go on here again. Tom, what do we think? 152 left, Tom. We've had 8 minutes, 8 fast, frantic minutes. Is it the normal suspect back at the front of the field? Can we see Dahlgren ever getting nearer?
Well, that depends on how many pit stops they decide to do. I mean, if they can eke out a lap for each pit window, it could make all the difference, because every time you do that, you're basically gaining some ground and performing a potential, not overcut or undercut as such, but you'll be on better tyres is what I was meant to say for the final stint towards the end. And that's like almost a 10-minute advantage with the tyres you got on for the final stint. So it's about playing that kind of long game, playing that game with chess compared to your rivals, and see how far you can go on each set of tyres before you pit in.
Yeah, Johnny and getting it done on Robert Molin. Dahlgren half a second away from Kirby. So we'll keep an eye on that one, seeing whether or not there's going to be progress there as well. You can see, John, that was Timon Suvic who's gone through at the bottom of the screen at the moment. JT Tammy still leading the field in the GT3s. He's got Adam Gray not far behind him. Adam Gray, Alan Holden not far behind him as well. Ross, would you prefer to be in a hypercar or a GT3 here?
You know, I like both, but I think that this track is a lot more fun in a hypercar, a nice big fast car where you've got some downforce to go along with it. The GTs, I feel like they're going to really be struggling, especially with this reduced grip version of the track that I'm not sure if it was able to be covered there a little bit, but we've updated it just a tidbit so that way it can represent the way that the track accumulates some of the sand across the surface. If you've watched either this year or last year, there is a lot of commentary on it and how, you know, in some cases, drivers coming out on cold tires, they even felt like they were hitting oil just because of how slick that sand would make it. So, yeah, I'd say hypercar for sure. You get that little extra bit of grip so that way you can kind of have maximum enjoyment.
I do wonder, is it really as sandy as this in real life, Ross, or is it just a little bit overboard with it in game?
Well, for the way that we did it, I would say that it's about right considering what we've seen. I mean, there are some drivers, they would come out and they would just completely spin out in turn one in real life. So it's about on. It's very hard to get some of the tack and whatnot down on the tire, especially like I said when they're cold. It does not want to adhere to anything. So yeah, you do get quite a bit of blowing. In some cases, you know, if the wind has been down for a while and they've cleared the track or there've been a lot of cars circulating, you know, it might be fine. It might be quite a bit grippier than what you normally see, but this area is just, it's so, you know, prone to getting that wind blowing across there that you're typically going to see the slicker side of things, I think.
All right, mate, no worries at all. Find out how JT Tammy and Alan Holden are getting on. Well, they're still battling there, ain't There's about an 1/8 of a gap, 7/7 of a gap between the Hypercar Pro lead as well. I'm sure we'll have a pick up on that one. Two battles developing, Tom, at the moment. GT3s with Tammy and Holden, and the Hypercars with Kirby and Dahlgren.
Yeah, just as close to each other. The Hypercars will be beginning to catch up to the GTs very, very soon. We do have a retirement, however, in the LMGT3 AMS. Jazz Whitfield has gone no further. We'll find out in due course what exactly happened to him. It's a shame because we've not seen a lot of Whitfield throughout this year. And from what we've been told, he had gone into the pit lane and stopped there. So Whitfield is the first retirement of this race. He is the first retirement of the race, and apparently had a couple of off tracks, and he thought that was enough for me.
Yeah, maybe that would be enough for me, to be honest with you as well. Sometimes if you're racing at circuits, Ross, that you don't like, you really don't want to be out there in the first place, do you?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's certainly true, although I feel like Jazz was having a decent time. I know that there was a small issue with maybe his network connection, and we got to spin into turn one.
Oh, John Mayer down in the bottom right-hand corner has just taken it for a slide, and unfortunately for him, he's just gone off the side of the circuit. I do wonder whether or not that was alongside Jerry Chen by the looks of it. So it's going to be interesting to have a look back at the replay and see if we can find out what went on with that one. And as look at that, it's like talking to God. We do deliver it as well. It's a rundown into turn number one. It is Jerry Chen tucked in right behind him, unfortunately. Was there contact? No, there was a big old rush. Missed your braking point, slammed the brakes on, steered the car out of the way, Ross, and managed to avoid Jerry in front of him.
Yeah, that was a good catch. It's so easy to do into that corner too, especially as the dynamics of the car changes throughout the race. And it looks like we've got another replay coming up here. This is Jazz. Or no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is Jazz.
I think this is Katarinakis, isn't it?
Oh, it's Katarinakis down into turn one. Over. Ooh, that was a very slow, awkward looking spin there, Tom, wasn't it? It was one of the ones that you're sitting there going, no, really?
Oh, sorry, James. We just saw Kirby and Dahlgren nearly come into blows at turn 11.
What happened there?
I don't know, it was literally Ross. I was looking at the timing screen at the moment that come on my screen. So, yeah, missed that one. But Kirby and Dahlgren look like they may have had some form of ta-ta-ta. Hopefully, this is it. Here we go. Dahlgren's going to dive up the inside. Whoa! He misses him by a nose hair. Oh, gee whiz, that must have been close there, Tom. Not a lot between the two.
No, and that could have been disastrous for the pair of them, and a potential steward's inquiry had that come off very, very badly. But luckily it didn't that time. But Dahlgren has lost crucial ground over Kirby. Gutierrez isn't too far back. We just saw him in the background coming out of the final kink, and he could also play a role. And that's another luck up there for Kirby. You saw how the rear steps out as he applies the brakes. It's so easy to lock the rear axle through the slower corners around here if you brake a little too late. We're going to see a replay from the angle of Kirby on the approach to turn 11, I believe. Here we go, look. So you can just see Molin there. He thought about it and then just backed out of it just about the right moment.
Yeah, that was Magnus Dahlgren, not Molin. That one.
My apologies.
That's all right.
Mixed up between the liveries.
Dahlgren is there still chasing that. He's managed to close the gap back up, Ross. You know, Magnus, he needs to win this race.
He for sure does. He wants to win it, regardless of what's happening in the standings. I mean, Dahlgren's always going for top performance, and I like that he goes for absolute maximum attack at all times. He's never one to really sit on too much strategy and whatnot. He wants to just get the car out there, and if he's burning off a whole bunch of fuel to do it, well, that's just what he's going to do. So I think you're going to see him come in a little bit earlier. He tends to do that during some of these races. Maybe he's able to save a little bit more than Kirby. I'm not sure, but I think maybe he's pushing that all-wheel drive advantage a little bit, given that it's a little bit slicker. So he's going to keep mounting that pressure throughout this first stint, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I do wonder if there's not going to be much fuel saving going on in the Toyota GR of Magnus Dahlgren. JT Tammy in the bottom right corner still leading Alan Holden. Adam Gray still staying in front of Steve. No, that's a swap, because Miller was in front of Gray. So it looks like Stephen Miller and Adam Gray have swapped places as well, which makes it a little bit more comfortable for Adam Gray for that second place in the GT3 AM. So I'm not quite sure where that happened, but according to the timing, they have swapped places. So yeah, great runs from both of them, Tom, on that one. These guys plodding around at the moment here, Tom. They're still battling away. Is this kind of one of the stages where you sit back and you think, right, okay, we'll pick up places where we can and try and get onto the fuel strategy? As we can see the cars on the screen at the moment, Robert Molin and Michael Locke coming not very far apart at the moment. Locke's going to go up the inside. There's that different line, and Molin's going to hang on, but it's going to be very, very hard.
It's going to be very hard, and they're coming towards the pit window for the first round of stops. So we'll find out soon enough who is deciding to pit in first and who will decide to stay out for another lap or two, and that'll be worth noting for the rest of the race. We are 16 minutes into this 2 hours of Bahrain, the season finale of VWSC Modern. Further back, we're seeing Ryan Paulbert Reyes leading, believe it or not, in the Hypercar AMS, just ahead of Cherry Chen. And I have to say, so far, I don't know what Ross thinks, but how would you assess Paulbert Reyes' performance so far in the Hypercar compared to what we've previously seen from him?
Well, Tom, it's interesting. I just happened to switch over to him on my own little side monitor here, and I saw him having some real twitchy moments through that first sector, which has allowed Jerry Chen to come up. Prior to that, I would have actually said he's having a really great fight, as we see for the fight for the lead, as Daniel Kirby's under major pressure. I think he's going to get him into this corner, although he's locked it up. Oh, my goodness.
Kirby tucked in at the moment. He's got Stephen Miller going to be using here once again. Now this is going to be the run down to the straight. Is Dahlgren going to be able to get that inside line? He tucks at the moment between Kirby there as well. You can see looking all a little bit defensive. He just gave Dahlgren an option. If you're going to go in now. He didn't go in now as well. He's gone in deep into the turn, through turn number 2. Dahlgren takes the lead of the race. He needs the lead of the race, and he's got the lead of the race. The difference is, Tom, can he hold on to the lead of the race?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that was the game of chess there. He backed out of it. He forced Kirby into a mistake by being on the brakes earlier than Kirby would have anticipated, and that was what forced Kirby into the mistake. So clever driving from Magnus Dahlgren to head into the race lead. Further back, we're looking at Robert Molin and Michael Locke, who are just as close further back in 6th and 7th. But going back to the topic of Dahlgren, that was cleverly done, and it required patience basically from Dahlgren, as opposed to doing nearly what he did earlier. And we've also got another retirement, and it looks like the hypercar AM of Eric Monet has been involved in the war somewhere. We'll find out how he managed to do that, but I think he may, I don't want to say rage quit, he may have gone back into the pit, but no, he's gone into turn one on the brakes, locked the rears, and he had enough.
Yeah, easily done, Ross, easily done as well. Quick update on where we are. As we know, Robert Magnus Dahlgren was sitting in 4th place. If he wins this race, he goes to 210 points, and he jumps Herlock and Barker, and he will take 2nd place in the championship. So a great job from them. Also as well, SKS will take 2nd place in the team championships away from Smile Power. So that's Dan Kirby, I believe, on our screen, running a little bit wide there at the same time. So Ross, not only is this important for Magnus in his own right, finishing 2nd in the teams for SKS, they jumped Smile Power as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's funny because it's such a big build-up throughout the season, and it can all come down to just a single race, and just being there. I've had a few championships this year in the historics where I'm kind of winning by default, even though I certainly was not the best performer overall. As we see, it looks like Gilles Lalonde getting around Ryan Paulbert Reyes. That's for track position. Man, those 936s are really struggling through that turn one. And you can even see, pay attention to that brake glow. They obviously have that bias put forward, but it's still really slick. You're carrying so much speed going into that first segment, and it's really easy to do. You're coming in, it's the fastest part of the track into the absolute slowest part of the track, and they just, that back end just wants to fish out like that. I would not be surprised if we see a spin before the first round of pit stops.
Yeah, that's Reyes, of course, in the Hypercar AMs. Now Lalonde in the pros, so maybe Reyes didn't really fight it as much, considering his fight is more with Jerry Chen, Mayer, and Concalves. Monet does it, well, to me, that looked like he just had enough, to be blatantly honest, but it happens. We've all been there and done it at some point. But I do sit there and think that Reyes didn't really fight that one. It's not really the position that he's got to worry about. He's just got to open up the gap to Jerry Chen. We'll put Reyes on the screen, I'm sure, very, very shortly, so we can have a look and see how he's getting on in that Hypercar AMS as well. As we look at Robert Molin opening up the gap to Micah Locke. So there is Paulbert Reyes down in the bottom right hand corner. Seems to be doing well, Tom, at this moment in time, still leading the Hypercar AMS. Was it really a fight for position with Gilles Lalonde, or did you just sit back and think, well, I don't need to be fighting this as much as I want to?
Well, given the fact that it's Reyes' first race in these hypercars, I don't think anyone would have wanted to fight too much with him, because he's nowhere near in contention for a particular position in that respective class. But now we are heading towards the pit window. We should start to see some pit stops involving the hypercars. In the meantime, we are seeing a replay of, this is John Mayer and John Ewan at turn 10. Interesting dice there, although it's almost like they were designing their own circuit. That particular part of the post, the way they were tackling that corner. I wonder how many times we're going to see drivers exceeding track limits there, James, because we saw Dan Kirby go off there earlier, and I wonder if the game itself may start giving out track limit warnings or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how they go. As we said, there's a couple of corners with a few multiple option points on this, as we said, turning points at the same time. I believe there's going to be, turn 1, turn 4, 13 and 14. There's going to be different lines through as Ryan Paulbert Reyes is battling away with Jerry Chen on the screen at this moment in time. That's a big battle that's going to keep developing here. Obviously, Chen been in the hypercar all season. Paulbert Reyes jumped into the Porsche for this round, Ross. I'm guessing that isn't for any particular reason, Ross, is it? Unless you know something we don't.
No particular reason other than he just wanted to try it out. I think he might be playing around with the idea of jumping up into the category for next season, and just kind of wanted to have this be his test bed. He's already got his points established within GT3, so yeah, he's just feeling it out and trying for something different. It's certainly driver's option.
Yeah, he's got 2026 on the car, so it's a possibility that that's maybe what we are looking at here as well. Dan Kirby still 2.14 seconds back away from Dahlgren. So Dahlgren doing what he has to do. As you can see, these guys are just lapping the GT3s. That's Stephen Miller on the list next for Ryan Paulbert. Reyes, he's got it wrong. Wow. Paulbert Reyes catching it there, Tom. But that looks spectacular.
Yeah, that was Stephen Miller right in front of him. I don't know if he got caught out by the braking and stopping distance of that GT compared to how he's been used to in the hypercar, but he did very well to save that. Well, I suppose that's a test of how he can control a hypercar after what we've seen from him in a GT.
Ross, definitely something you'd be proud of, wouldn't you, mate?
Well, you know, I always appreciate a good drift, and certainly a good save, but I think he's really working the back end of that car just a bit too much, and that's certainly something that's, it takes a little bit of getting used to, just the difference between the downforce levels and where the grip is in different segments of braking and accelerating in these cars. So it's really something that you got to pay attention to, and it looks like that might be a replay down there in the corner. It's just, it's amazing that that was not a replay. No, it looks like it was a replay. I think we saw that.
It was a
before he
replay.
ducking into the pit.
It was a replay down in the bottom right, yeah. Yeah, we saw that one just before.
So,
No, that definitely was. It definitely was. We see, it was so good, we saw it twice there as well. So, well done on that one. But Jerry Chen and John Mayer are going to continue their fight once more. Stephen Miller in the bottom right-hand corner. That's James Walker and Matthew Overton behind him as well, which is exactly what we are looking at. Alexander McQuarrie needs to get onto the battle here, but Adam Gray just doing what he needs to do, leading the field overall. So going to be very interesting to see how they get on this one. Tom, looks like pit stop cycle starting for happening for the hypercars. We are around that time here. How do we think they're all going to do?
It's a very difficult one. Well, Troy Uyan's come into the pits, James, so he's the first of the hypercars to make his...
Reyes coming before him.
Oh, okay.
When
so
we saw
I was looking
him
at the
do that-
Hypercar Pros. I was looking at Hypercar Pros, that's why I said Hypercar. Because of the timing page we're looking at. But, yeah, it's difficult to say because you want to try and perform that undercut if you can, and track position is going to be pivotal in their quest to complete an undercut. Gilles Lalonde has come into the pits as well, as has Troy Uyan. Both of the Uyans in the pits now, and we've also got Vinicius Goncalves coming in, who I believe has already served his drive-through.
Yeah, it's going to be one of them things for Goncalves. Hopefully he's got that out of the way. That will free him up for the rest of the race there, Ross, as well. Quite important for Goncalves to try and keep that car going forward.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season for him overall, for sure. You know, I'm just thinking about how he's actually teamed up with George Angelidis, who in the historics, and he's running in the pro class here. And you know, he'll have his moment. Or I'm sorry, he's not in the pro class, but you know, he's running in a different car than George. It's been interesting to see if those two, if they teamed up, as we see Dahlgren going in, giving up the lead to get his first pit stop of the night. It would be interesting to see if
Kirby's in behind him.
Oh, Kirby is, yeah.
Yeah, Kirby went in behind him. So that should free up. No, Gutierrez is going to dive in. So it does look like around about 27-minute stints. Team on Civic's going to come in as well. That's basically, Ross, if they run it out full flat, of course.
Yeah, I'm just kind of keeping an eye here. And yeah, great camera work here going on to Robin Moling, who we talked about previously, have been able to stretch that fuel number. Yep. And so he's going to run another one around. And this is a long track, obviously, you know, 2+ minutes around there. It's about 149, 150 for the hypercars. So if he's able to get another one out of the tank, that's going to wrap around to the backside of this track, or however he cuts his pit stops up. And that's just going to give such a big advantage, assuming that he's able to make it up in performance. That's always the big if, because as we saw the Delta coming up, it was around, maybe around 30, 40 seconds, somewhere about that point. So if he can make that up or even close that down as time goes on, certainly if he's able to kind of stay away from the other cars and just keep pumping out consistent laps while his competition has to deal with some of that slowing them down, that will be his advantage, and that's where he can come back and maybe snatch that win right at the very end.
Do you honestly think he's going to? Has he got the pace to be able to do that?
It's too early to tell. I think that he's got good enough pace. whether he's able to keep extrapolating that throughout the race, especially as the sun goes down. As we can look at the track right now, temperatures around 40 C. So that makes a difference a little bit as they head into the night. It's going to get much cooler. So things are going to change. It's going to be dicey. We'll have to see.
Okay, well, Tom,
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Ross, actually, because I was mentioning earlier about how many laps you need to do to save yourself having to do another pit stop. We were mentioning about how many pit stops each driver in Hypercar has to do, whether it's like 4 or 5. So it's at least 5 sets of tyres that a driver is going to need to have. How many extra laps do you think they need to do compared to your rivals in order to save yourself having to do an extra pit stop? Because Molin stayed out there at least a lap compared to the likes of Dahlgren, Kirby and all that. How many laps for each window do you think he needs to extend to save himself a pit stop for later on?
I don't know if he'd be able to cut out an entire pit stop. I mean, if we see him do another lap around, well, he is doing another lap around
Yeah, he
here.
is.
That's impressive. That's a lot of fuel saving. I mean, that would cut him down, because you need about 5.5 tanks of fuel to make it to the end here in the hypercars. So that's a really tough call. I don't know. That that would be what, 4 laps, something like that. 6 to 8 laps maybe that you might be able to carve out of it if you're able to stay consistent and make it work. It would be significant. If nothing else, that would be a much shorter final pit stop for sure. And certainly if you've got like half a tank that you have to fill it up, that could cut that one out. So yeah, you might be right. He might be able to cut out that final pit stop.
I suppose if he can keep doing it in each stint, considering that he's doing at least 2 more laps compared to his rivals, if he can do 2 more at the next window, and etc., there is a chance he's going to be able to save a pit stop, because saving 10 laps or so, or 8 laps even, is, what's that, 16 minutes in total? That's a big difference when you think of it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the timing here. His fastest lap was at a 151, where Kirby was at a 149, Dahlgren at a 148.6. Now, obviously, that's just the fastest lap, so that's not the full combination of what they've been doing. But if that's anything to go by, it looks like he might be, a second or 2 off of what their pace is. And just watching their sector times now, he's, about 3/10, 4/10. Yeah, he's about matching in sector 2. This is going to be an interesting one to see, for sure.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on this one. Robert Molin into pit lane. Let's see how he gets on. Where is he going to come out in conjunction with Dahlgren? Is he going to be in and around Kirby? Or will he still be sitting in with Gutierrez? So let's find out how Molin gets on. He doesn't really want to be out in that traffic, Ross, if he's trying to do this situation that we think he's doing. Surely a clean track is better for him.
Yeah, clean track every day. I mean, unless you're in the middle of a fight and you can throw a pick with one of the other GT cars or a slower car in your class, that's about the only reason why you'd want to have one around you if you're under pressure. But outside of that, yeah, you want to have clean open track. You want to hit all of your marks. You want to run your own pace so that way you can hit your numbers and potentially throw off your competition. Right now, I think we're going to see Dahlgren, if it's anything like what we saw in that opening stint, he's going to start pulling away from Kirby. Or, maybe slowly, certainly not running away, but just enough where he might just be walking him by the end of the stint.
Well, we're going to find out, see how he gets on in a moment. He's come out of pit lane. Robert Molin is down in 6th in class. So it was Uyan Suvic and Gutierrez also got through. So Robert Molin there down in 6th. Reyes still leading Hypercar AMS, 1.7 seconds. Concalves has jumped Jerry Chen. JT Tammy leading the GT3s with Holden tucked in. Gray and Miller still fighting it out in the GT3 AMS. You can see Walker with Miller and Overton on your screen at the moment here currently. So nice little battle developing. 1 hour 27 minutes here, Tom. Tom, can you do a race for 2 hours?
I could actually, yeah. Yeah, no, seriously,
no
I could. In a particular machine, I would be able to do at least 2 hours, 100%.
Ross?
Yeah, 2 hours is no problem. I mean, once you're getting up around 6 to 8 hours for a race, that's going to make you tired. Certainly not something that is unheard of. 12 and 24, that's a little more Iron Man there.
Mate, if I could get through an hour and a half without doing it as well, I'd be in deep trouble. You know, with getting through without needing the loo, I'd be all right, to be blatantly honest. Gonna have a look at a replay there as well. There was a uh-oh from Ross in my ear, and there was a that's not the way from our producer in the background. I believe that is that Magnus Dahlgren, Alan Holden going off? That was weird. Yeah. Did he get a kiss on the rear end there, Tom, do we think?
No, I think he tried to get out of the way, and he took the evasive route rather than going through the gravel trap, which that is a really, really unusual way to get out of the way, really. But there is a thing about hypercars, is that it's their responsibility to get round the GTs without running into them.
It did look like, though, the weird snap on the left-hand side there, Ross. I've never seen a car directly turn off behind to the left like that without contact.
It's easy to do when you get unsettled. I'm wondering if we're going to see the Adam Gray incident that went off here.
Dan Scott
coming down into turn 10. Oh, and he's avoiding Katarinakis, who I think he just went for a ride. I saw something out of the corner of my eye catching the curb, and he was getting unsettled. So I think he just got into that hard braking corner. Very similar to turn 1, where you're doing a lot of heavy braking, and that one, of course, is sort of the dreaded triple left-hander.
Yeah, it sounds like some people have more bright drama ears being screamed at in our ear at the moment. As we're looking at another replay. Lots of chat going on between Bisswick and the out there. So Adam Gray gets a tap. Was that from Robert Molin? Because there is 2 cars with the same livery, which makes it a little bit confused. I think it may have been Robert Molin. I may have had a little bit of a kiss because there is a couple of cars with the same livery. But Troy Uyan and Robert Molin 2.3 seconds apart at the moment. And Dahlgren and Kirby and Gutierrez are fighting out at the front 4 there as well. Don't panic, folks. Robert Molin has not been in the pits for 2 minutes and 60 seconds. That will be our little timing software giving us a little bit of grief there, Tom.
Yeah, we've been confirmed that it was Robert Molin that ran into Adam Gray at turn 12. This is another replay. Ooh, I think it's a racing incident.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, as that you just seen Robert Molin there, that was what happened before, of course, and unfortunately the contact there was not a good idea. Troy Uyan still battling in 5th, he's chasing down Tumon Suvic. How far has Molin got to go here, Ross, do we think, to make this fuel strategy work? Because at the moment, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it off, he's a long way back.
Oh, well, Tom and I were having a bit of discussion on that. Hold on, put a pin in that for a moment, because there's been a lot of good stuff going on here.
Paul Reyes
up right behind Vinicius Goncalves. Yep, nice little drift. He's going to tear the snot out of those rear tires if he keeps that up. This is Scott.
That
looked like he locked the engine.
Did he just spin over that cone or something that was on the floor there in the bottom right-hand corner? Did he hit
like
the cone?
the sides I've ever heated.
I think you're right. Yeah, that was so sudden.
Watch.
Like, yeah.
Oh no, missed the cone, but that would have been funny if he'd run over the cone and slid. Ryan Paulbert Reyes, yeah, it would have been well funny. Ryan Paulbert Reyes having a little bit of an accident. Does not like that corner whatsoever there, Tom.
No, it looks like he went offline a little bit there. And this is Katarinakis coming towards turn 9 after Scott had his spin. I think this is actually where he spun first, was pointing the correct way out. No, this is a different one actually, and I think that was just him going over track limits actually.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We're missing one incident that I saw off on the monitor here. Gilles Lalonde made contact with Stephen Miller. I don't know if it was strong enough to give Miller damage, but he ended up going straight off into the barrier. I didn't see what came about from that one, but it looked pretty violent. I wouldn't be surprised if he was limping back with damage.
We'll try and see if we can have a look back at that one. Dahlgren and Kirby still 1.6 seconds apart. Dahlgren on the screen at the moment. Dan Kirby there, you see in the background chasing him down. Goncalves now leading the Hypercar AMS. Reyes, Chen and Mayer fighting it out here behind them. So still battling, more to come on that one. 1 minute 22 on the clock left, Tom. Should be an interesting fight to the end.
Absolutely, approaching the 3rd wave mark of this one now, and you could just see the way Dahlgren was getting the hammer down out of these slower corners. Just watch the rear when he comes out of either turn 13 or 14. Just the way the rear drifts around on him. and we will know whether he's pushing or not.
Yeah, we will do on that one, Ross. It's going to be very interesting in the Hypercar Championship. There is a big opportunity for Jerry Chen to be losing this second place here.
Yeah, you know, I would say keep posted to the end. Here we go with the replay. This might be the Gilles Lalonde incident.
Oh, they're going free wide. That's never a good idea.
No, this is a different one.
A different one. And, ooh.
Oh, my.
Miller getting a big old slide on, slid straight across the front. How they managed to miss each other, we will never know. Maybe there was contact, but not entirely sure on that one. But we'll keep an eye out as Dahlgren's still leading the way there, Ross.
Yeah, that was... first I thought that was the incident from before. I was wondering how they got crossed up like that. But yeah, all the GTs now are in for their first stop. And they actually have a pretty interesting fuel strategy because they're about 30 to 35 minutes. They can potentially extend that a little bit more, although I don't think with the way that the tire wear is, I would want to wait much longer than what you can do there. But they could save just enough fuel that they could shorten up that last stop. Or they could possibly move themselves around, like maybe take a shorter fill in one of the other two stops before you get to the end and, do a little bit of an undercut there. But they have a little bit more play with what they're doing, I think, just depending on what they have happen to them throughout the race, if they get caught up in traffic or what happens here. Here we go. This might be the one that I was seeing.
Well, we'll have a look and see. Yeah, this is the one before, whether or not there's going to be contact here or not. And there you go, down the inside. There's Miller.
Oh,
just missed him.
Missed him missed him by one of Paul Glover's nose hairs there, I think, Ross, to be blatantly honest on that one.
I haven't seen it, but I assume they're pretty short then. He keeps himself pretty clean because there was no room between those two cars. That was, like I said, shades of Dahlgren. Speaking of.
Yeah, as well. In our ear is there as well. Glover telling us apparently that keeps his nose hairs very clean and his ear hairs. So well done to everybody for knowing that Paul Glover does that. Just a shame he can't keep hair on his head and he might have a different situation. But there we go. Dahlgren and Kirby fighting out here as well, leading the front of the field. Concalves and Chen. Reyes there as well. Update on Jerry Chen and Concalves. Concalves will take 271. Jerry Chen will take 265 if they stay where they are. So they will swap places in the championship. Concalves will overtake Jerry Chen for second place in the championship. So lots of swaps around that could be happening at this moment in time, Tom, if they stay as they are.
Yeah. Well, on the last side, Dan Kirby had a horrible error at turn 1. I don't think this is going to be what is going to be shown to us. It'll be something different. This is over at turn 1. This is Stephen Miller. And this is Gilles Lalonde, isn't it?
Oh, where's he going?
Ran into the side of Stephen Miller at turn 2 and gone off circuit.
Hold on. Right, there's contact and there's a violent manoeuvre that does not look ideal on that one, unless there was some form of internet issues going on there, Ross, and the www dots weren't playing the game. That is not a normal movement of a car contact off the left-hand side. Not directly 90-degree left. No way.
Well, if you look at the way that he hit him, it was a glancing blow. He was not anticipating for Stephen Miller to be that slow coming out. I couldn't see who was up in front of him.
Yeah, but watch what he does here. This is not a normal way of going out of an accident. And then just does that.
Well, keep in mind, you are turning left through there, and as soon as he saw... I can't believe he missed that wall. But as soon as
he managed to stay on the exit road.
Glanced off, the car was instantly weight shifted, and it just sent him. So he was kind of at the mercy of physics at that point. But yeah, he hit him in just the right way coming through there. Stephen Miller was starting to come back. He was slowing down because he was going to push off the circuit. And he had too much speed, just got him.
Okay, well, Stephen Miller, do your lottery if you could hit him there as well. Pulbert Reyes and Jerry Chen side by side. There is a back marker there as well. Pulbert Reyes up the inside, takes the tighter line. Chen manages to hold on to second place. Pulbert Reyes there, still fighting it out down in third. That's going to make my maths change again. as they've obviously just swapped places. So Jerry Chen will be on 269 if he stays in that second place, and it still will be Goncalves on 271 going into this final round, of course, in the Hypercar Championship. On that one, we're going to have a look at a replay now as well. There is Gilbert Reyes with Jerry Chen, and we're going to find out what went on. Oh, the bottom right hand corner is the replay all of a sudden.
Oh, that's really bizarre.
John Mayer goes around there as well. That was just under acceleration, though, Tom. He's put his foot down and it didn't go anywhere.
Well, they don't have traction control, these machines, have they? So that explains why the wheel spin had kicked in just as he applied the throttle on the exit, but at least he's kept the car going safe and sound. We're looking at Ryan Paulbert Reyes, who is in third place in the Hypercar AM class, going after Jerry Chen, who is not too far up the road from him. The traffic seems to be getting rather congested, actually, as these two are going through turns 1 nose to tail. And the latest this is Dan Scott, who has had another spin at turn 10, right in front of Magnus Dahlgren as well, JP.
Yeah, Dahlgren getting away with one there, Ross, I think, as well. But poor old Danny Scott's not having a good time at this moment in, well, unfortunately, moment in time on the racetrack there as well. Paulbert Reyes and Jerry Chen. And a nice little battle in that is McQuarrie. They've just got him cleared there on the right-hand side of that one. McQuarrie now leading the GT3 AMs. Gray has not been in the pit lane for 5 minutes. Again, the timing software having a little bit of a moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Producer, sir. So McQuarrie leading the GT3 AMs, Gray and Miller second and third, but I've got a funny feeling, then again, didn't Alexander McQuarrie do this once before with us, Ross?
Yeah, he did. You know, Alex is kind of an interesting driver because he definitely has pace, and we've seen him perform very well. And for whatever reason, he manages to blow up his car almost all the time, and I have no idea how. He actually did it in the Porsche Cup series that we run in NARS on Thursday, and completely different set of cars, but you know, also paddle shifters. There's no reason why he should have been able to blow himself up, yet he did. But you know, he's got the pace. He's kind of in no man's land in terms of where he's ranked, because obviously he's performing really well. He's got the GT3 AM Championship wrapped up under the driver's side. But he's just kind of lagging behind the pros in this field right now. So I don't know. It's an interesting case of Alexander McQuarrie.
Yeah, he just all of a sudden appears at the top of the standings. We have no idea how he got there. I can't remember where he did it to us last time, but all of a sudden he just appeared in front of the GT3s, and didn't he go and take it by like a minute and a half or something in the GT3 AMs? It was really bizarre, and now he's up there again, and I'm not quite sure how he got there, considering he was in third place at one point. So yeah, good luck, Alexander McQuarrie. See if you can hold on to that, as you say, already wrapped up championship. Reyes and Chen, probably the closest battle on the circuit, as JT and James Walker and Matthew Overton still continue to fight here, Tom, as well. 1 hour 15 left on the clock. Going to be an interesting one going forward.
We've got a nice battle raging between the two Aston Martins as they go into turn number 8. There's Overton ahead of Walker for position. You can see the lights are, well, the skylights beginning to fade around Bahrain, and the headlights are coming on the cars now. So we are going to see a different racetrack to what we had seen throughout this so far. But Dahlgren continuing to lead the way as we look at the Hypercar AM duo of Jerry Chen and Ryan Paulbert Reyes going through some GTs. But it is Goncalves who leads the way in that particular class so far.
Yeah, headlights, Ross, headlights. Are they all going to remember to have them on, do you reckon?
James, when I was giving the race brief, I emphasized so much, please keep your headlights on. Do not get disqualified for not having them on when you need. And I would say that right now, I'm kind of surprised I'm not seeing them all come on. Although, if you keep an eye on the stadium lights surrounding the track, as soon as those kick on, that should be when we're, quote, officially in darkness. And that's when we should see the rest of the lights come on. And, you know, kind of a sim thing to consider is when those lights come on, as you can see there, a lovely producer throwing them up, those floodlights come on and they actually draw a lot of resources. So for some of those drivers that might be on, you know, maybe some weaker hardware, that could be a real challenge for them because it can really drop your frame rate down and make driving around here that much more difficult. So kind of one of those things that becomes unique within the sim world, but something you got to think about.
Absolutely. The problem is more and more things here, Tom, graphically get better and better and better. And the older PCs aren't handling it as much anymore. You know, then you're needing to buy the new 5080 or the 4090 to be able to stay in contact with them, and the new i14 and the Ryzen 7 and the SSD 2.0 4 gig. You know, before you know it, I know somebody's just spent literally $3,000 on a PC. That's just to try and stay up to date here, and it just gets so expensive, Ross. And is the development of the game, is it becoming almost worth it for these people who can't necessarily afford these big PCs?
Well, I mean, that's going to be the state of sim racing no matter where you are. I mean, certainly with R-Factor 2, development is effectively stopped as far as core engine mechanics and everything. So this is sort of locked down. The only difference you might see is like maybe some of the efficiency and community created content, because that still is very much kind of an art and a craft of its own. But, you know, just in general, I mean, anybody who wants to run at much higher settings, which R-Factor 2 is certainly capable of doing, and providing really nice graphics, you will have to pay the price in order to just enjoy that top-end experience. And unfortunately, if you want to be within the sim racing world, you know, any of the new Assetto Corsa stuff that's coming, you gotta pay to play. Yeah. So Kirby's doing his damnedest to be able to get up there and, you know, stay in touch with Magnus Dahlgren before the end of this race.
Yeah, we've got Reyes in pit lane at the moment as well. Kirby trying to stay close to Dahlgren again. This will be a massive jump for Magnus Dahlgren. He will finish on 210 points and will be ahead of Herlock and Barker, and SKS will be ahead of Smile Power. We've just lost Dan Scott, another retiree here this evening as well. What do we reckon, Tom? Is this DNFs necessarily just because they're having a bad race, or what do we think it is here?
They just feel like, you know, they want the season to finish as soon as possible, really. And you'd have thought that they would just continue on for as long as they could, but I suppose, you know, when they're not really achieving anything, maybe it is the time to stop. But when you finish a race like that, you're not really scoring anything, which doesn't really help your reputation as a racing driver, in my point of view. But it's their decision at the end of the day, which I totally respect why. But I'm sure Scott will have more reasons than what we already know as to why he's not finishing this.
Ross, what do you reckon? If you're having a bad race, you're spinning more times than Kyler Minogue in a video, you've just literally don't like the circuit you're racing on, would you carry on to the end, or would you go and put on your pipe and slippers?
I mean, I'm always one for toughing it out. I mean, if you sign up for, as we see the floodlights come on, just like mentioned, if you're going into a race, you know, it's usually something where it's like, you know, have respect for yourself or the competition, and, you know, eke it out to the end. But there are sometimes, you know, if you are a hazard to yourself, maybe for technical reasons, maybe, you know, you're just having a really bad day, you know, getting out of there might just be the better option, so that way you're not ruining somebody else's race. So, I mean, it just all depends. It all depends on maybe where you are in the championship. You know, I can say from my own experience at the last race for the Historics, you know, I had an incident and I could have easily just left, but instead I stayed out and got to be in front of the leaders and watch that really fun event as they were fighting out behind me. I just was eating popcorn and watching my rear view mirror. So, you know, to each their own. You know, as long as you're
do we really need to go there, Mr.
someone
Smith?
else's race.
Do we really need to go there?
Then I would say, you know, stick with it. But otherwise, you know, maybe pull it off. So, to each their own.
Maybe you might have been having a good time pulling out popcorn.
That was a great time.
I'm sure it probably was, Mr. Smith. I'm pretty sure I was not having a great time. If anybody hasn't watched that one back, you would not understand there as well. But go and watch the Historics and see me have a little bit of a rant there due to somebody in the booth causing me problems, should we say. Tom, bring yourself back in here, mate, as well. We've got an hour and 7 lead. Dahlgren still leading the race. What do you think he's got to do to get to the end here?
Well, he's got to think about strategy. Does he come in on the same laps as Kirby? Well, I suppose the trouble he's got now that he's the leader is that he won't know when Kirby is pitting in. It's almost like he has to second guess, but he has to run his own race, keep track position, understand where the track position is and where he's at, and go along with it. It's about thinking smart.
Okay.
Yeah, well said.
Okay.
It's as academic as it sounds. It's very true, and I know that for a fact.
Okay, fair play. I haven't doubted anything you've said there, Tom. You know, you go for your life. Mic drop, leave the booth. Thanks very much. Have a good one. Dan Kirby going in pit lane. Magnus Dahlgren carrying on to here, Ross as well.
Yeah, I'm watching. It looks like we've got Lalonde actually coming into the pits. We might have a few others going through their cycle. Jerry Chen is in. So yeah, a couple cars coming onto pit road right now. So this Dahlgren-Kirby fight, I think, is about to get a little bit of a shakeup. One thing that I was thinking about in the back of my mind, as Kirby looks like he's in.
Yeah, we just said Kirby's got into pit lane. I did just mention Kirby's got into pit lane, leaving Dahlgren to have a fight out on their own as well. So, but going to be an interesting one on this one. We're going to find out if Robin Molin's going to go in pit lane here, Tom, or whether or not he's going to go. How many more laps can he go? That's the question.
Well, he went 2 laps further than Kirby did, Molin. But the difference this time around is that is that Karen Anakis has gone off the circuit there in the background in one of the GTs. We'll have a gander at that in a moment. But what?
Speeding from
being informed that Joe Lalonde has been given a penalty that'll be for speeding in the pit lane. He's just come in for his latest stop. And, well, he'll be back in again within the next few laps to serve that drive-through. And that is that. But Robin Molin, just going back to what I was saying about Molin, James, he stayed out 2 laps longer than most of the others in the first round. And the difference this time is that Dahlgren stayed out a lap longer than Kirby. So Molin's got a little bit more information to keep in mind about when he needs to pit in if he's got any form of chance of winning this race. That's John Uyan riding the curb and going for a spin. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, he did that. Nice little bit of slow-mo for you. Just carried it in, went in a little bit too hot there, Ross. Hit the curb on that one. How long is Molin going to go here as well? And we'll find out how these guys get on once more. But great little action taking shape at this moment in time, Ross, on the racetrack.
Yeah, this is a really good midsection. I mean, we're coming up to about the 50% point in the race, and this is shaping up kind of the way I was anticipating. We're seeing a lot of drivers struggling with some of that trap grip. It's come down from 40C to 28, so a massive swing in the temperatures there. I'm interested to see how the last half of the race kind of plays out, especially with tire management, tire wear. I think a good one to keep an eye on is actually going to be Ryan Paul Reyes, because obviously he's been pushing his rear tires quite a bit as he's been going through the different segments. So, you know, if we find that he's not doing that quite as much, either he's finally, you know, getting his head wrapped around the car, or he's able to actually get a little bit more grip out of it with the cooler temperatures. But, you know, one thing that we've seen throughout the season is drivers will do split axles. They'll actually run hards on the front and mediums on the rear, or, you know, maybe somehow they're splitting if it's like a heavily one-sided loaded circuit like Road Atlanta. It's hard on the left side. You know, they might do that to try and get more tire wear and maybe only change 2 tires, save some time in the pits. But this time, everyone's going for mediums because they just want to get all that much more grip. Eric Moynier actually just dropped a line saying he's out for the race because he's not having a good time, and he can't find the grip. So yeah, we'll see how this goes throughout the last segment. We lost James. Well, Tom, we'll see how this goes for the last segment of the race. Oh, we lost Tom too. So looks like James and Tom went off for a bit of a smoke break. So yeah, we're just watching Robin Molin right here. So the big controversy right now is whether or not he's going to be able to stay up in front. You can see, I think that's Dahlgren in the background there. Yeah, 4 seconds or so behind him. They're in heavy traffic, so that's going to slow things down as Robin Molin tries to carve his way up. Fuel strategy is going to be the big point of play here, and I believe he might have another lap or so in the tank just based off where everyone else went in and where he's running. He is running maybe about 1 to 2 seconds off the pace of the others, but he's obviously making that up as he's able to come around Dahlgren not too far behind though. That's going to make a difference. Although I have to check with some of the others. So I believe that's Mulling staying out. A little bit of a fake there as he's going for the pass, but yeah. And is that Dahlgren who's going to be looking to head in, or is he just getting around traffic? Couldn't really see.
I think he's just going through traffic, Ross, by the looks of it. But Molin seems to have stayed out there. Is that 2 laps at least now? Since
at least
Kirby last came in. So he's done the 2 laps of which he had set on the first stint. So now his job is to extend that even further by try to do at least 2 more on this second stint before he comes in for his second stop. It's basically carrying on that trajectory of number of laps, extending the stint compared to your rivals. And we've got a yellow flag briefly in sector 2. I don't know what that was all about. Maybe I think that we're being told it's Concalves who's had a moment, most likely at turn 10, because that's been a place where mistakes have been made a lot tonight. But Robin Molin, his job is to basically do something different compared to his rivals and extend the gap further to save himself a pit stop later on.
Yeah, exactly right, Tom. I mean, he's been doing this all season long now. Once they've made this, well, all season since they've been switched over to the Valkyrie, they found that that fuel efficiency really plays to their hand. You know, we saw him just snatch the win away at Coda. As we look at Goncalves here. So before turn 10, so down at that hairpin, yeah, that's kind of awkward on the exit there. It's certainly not impossible to do. Looks like it might just be a bit of the balance. Yeah, so we've got Mulling here. I think he might actually be able to get another lap out of this. And if he lines it up where he only has to do the 3 stops throughout the race, effectively matching, or sorry, 4 stops, effectively matching up with the minimum, then yeah, he's going to go ahead and save himself having to do another stop. So yeah, he's gone around again. I think he's going to come in on this time, matching it dead even with the halfway point of the race. But I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to pull it off because that's a long pit road. And if he's able to maximize it going into the last one, he might be able to jump these guys and then just hold them off into the end. It's going to be close.
Absolutely so. We are coming up to the halfway point in this final round of the VWSC Modern Championship of 2025. As you look on the timing tower, Robin Molin leading the way in the Hypercar Pros, but he has done 1 less stop compared to most of those, including Dahlgren and Kirby, who have been dominating the race as we speak. In the Hypercar AMS, finishes Goncalves has, well, he's currently leading the way. Jerry Chen, who's already wrapped up the Hypercar AM title before this, is running in second place as a yellow flag in sector 2, which we'll find out more on in a moment. JT Tammy, who has already wrapped up the LMGT3 Pro title, is leading the way in that ahead of Alan Holden, who's nearly a whole minute off him. And in the LMGT3 AM Championship, Adam Gray is leading the way, but it's quite close actually between him, Alexander McCreary, and Peter Meyer, who is just under 10 seconds off McCreary in their own squabble. So there's still a few battles as we speak. We enter the final hour. The track is now under the lights. The headlights are on. Ross, how much do you think of a race is going to be different to what we've seen in the opening hour in hotter conditions? As Molin comes in. Molin is in, so he's able to extend the stint by another couple of laps. So he's essentially 4 laps ahead of Dan Kirby in being able to preserve fuel.
Yeah, that's going to be huge coming into the end, because he needs to be able to do that for the next 2 stints, basically, to avoid that final splash and dash. And the drivers in these hypercars are going to have to get probably about half a tank into there. So, I mean, you know, the transit on pit lane, and then probably maybe about 5 to 10 seconds stationary. So that is not insignificant. I mean, that's probably about 40 or so seconds out on the track that you're going to be able to save yourself. So if he's able to maintain, is that Goncalves? Yeah, that's wiping out around turn 1. So again, he's having this spot where he's getting on the throttle, and the car is just not getting traction on the back end of it. It's kind of weird to see with the all-wheel drive cars. Usually they're fairly understeery on throttle, but opposite effect here.
We saw a replay of Concalves going for a spin, and that's why the gap between him and Jerry Chen has come down to under 7 seconds. And this is Jules Lalonde, who is not making his first mistake of the day. We've seen him go off earlier, but this time it's at turn 10. How on earth he was able to carry that amount of speed into turn 10 is beyond me, quite frankly. We don't often see a lot of accidents. And we understand this is the same corner, but different incident, and he was lucky to even drift that round. I suppose if there was one corner where you can have a half spinner, it's that corner, Ross.
Yeah, I mean it's not giving you any great lap times, but I mean you're gonna lose the least on that one for sure. So yeah, Scandi flick through turn 10 all day long, especially in those all-wheel drives. Looking up here, we've got Dahlgren obviously up in the lead. He's about 11 or so seconds ahead of Kirby, and Mulling has dropped down. You can see where that stop, like I said, that transit time and everything is going to really hurt you, as Gutierrez and Suvik have managed to get up in front. So he's down in 5th place. And then we've got, he's about 6 seconds behind Suvik and Gutierrez. I don't know, Tom. This is going to be a tough one coming into the last segment. That's a big gap to make up. Even if he does get 40 seconds from not having to pit stop, it's going to be really, really tight. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make that up.
And what we have to factor in is that Dahlgren stayed out longer on that second stint compared to Kirby. And it explains why, perhaps, in the gap that is continuing to increase between Magnus Dahlgren and Dan Kirby. And JP has rejoined us. And I have to say, I think we are treated to a brilliant end to the season. And that's a spin for Vinicius Goncalves again. And that time has cost him the class lead to Cherry Chen in Hypercar Ram.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a rough one over the last few laps, has Concalves. We've seen him go around twice in that same corner. He's just lost it again going into that corner as well. Dahlgren, no, however, has opened up a massive gap over the last 10 seconds. He's obviously Harry Pottered himself forward and has opened it up to 10 seconds. Chen and Concalves swap places. That means I've got to do maths again to figure out which way round they are, but it's going to be very, very interesting in that Hypercar AMS, and unfortunately, does look like he's gone round again. He's not having a good one, Ross, at this moment in time. This last little section from him over this last little period has not been going down too well.
I'm wondering, James, if maybe he didn't actually get tires on the last stop. It's really hard to tell just because of the way that they end up wearing. I mean, usually the sidewalls would be worn down quite a bit more if he didn't get tires and that tire wear was pretty significant. But just for the amount of times that he's losing the back end coming through those slower segments, it just seems like he's not able to get any grip whatsoever. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, if it is tyres, it would be understandable, Tom, to be honest. He's been on them for a while. You know, this is going to be into probably catching 35 minutes, 40 minutes on the same stint. And that, of course, is going to eat them away. But I think he's gone from overtaking Chen in the championship to now sitting in behind him. He really has not done himself any favours at all, and maybe not taking tyres wasn't the way to go there, Tom.
Well, that explains by the fact that there's no rear end grip, and also the fact that on a circuit like this, even though the track conditions have cooled down, you have to factor in that those tyres will have overheated, because when you're trying to find that amount of grip, when you know that there's not as much grip on there as what there were when you put them on to begin with, you're basically fighting for grip that isn't there, and that explains why. And whilst we mentioned that, Matt Overton has been given a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so that's his race compromised. He is running in 5th position in LMGT3 Pro, so that mistake there from him will, well, he's down in last place overall anyway, so he won't in fact lose any positions, but he will lose ground to the cars ahead. And we are... Troy Uyan has posted a new fast lap of the race, a 148.4. So he's beginning to get the hammer down. I mean, if you look at the previous fastest lap, it was a 148.6, which Magnus Dahlgren was able to accomplish. But I think it tells you about who is choosing to push and when they are, and that's a car off circuit.
That is Gutierrez.
That's Gutierrez, yeah. And he's only pitted once in this race as well, James.
Actually, is that Gutierrez in that? It looks like the Gutierrez livery, but Molin's just gone through him, and I didn't see him jump up the standings. Paul Reyes again as well. Ross, there's a lot of mistakes happening across the board, and it seems to be coming mostly from the hypercars at the moment. Alex Goncalves, Reyes, Gutierrez all making mistakes. I know we said earlier on, and we were talking about it, you said, 2 hours is manageable, and Tom was like, yeah, I could do 2 hours, and even, the bug in my ear roll was going, yeah, he could do 2 hours as well. Can some of these drivers do 2 hours, though? Are they struggling with tiredness? Some of them just look like missed braking points. Some of them looks like they've missed their braking point, slammed on the brakes, and the car said no. Are they struggling with fatigue already?
I don't know if it's as much fatigue. I mean, I'm sure there might be one or two that might be getting a little bit tired, but I think for the most part, this is probably coming down to just the changing conditions on the track. Like I said, we've had a massive swing in temperature. I mean, it went from 40 C on track temp to 24 C. It's actually cooler on the track than it is in the air, which is pretty wild. But that has a huge effect on the grip coefficient of these tires and the way that they're able to do some of their slip and whatnot. As we've seen throughout the season, I mean, a lot of the cars, particularly hypercar, they rely a lot on downforce to be able to generate that grip. And some of these slow corner segments, you can see, like we were talking about with Goncalves going through there and having his moments, the turn 1 incidents with the 936s. I think all of them, they're really experiencing some of that struggle with the reduced track grip because of the sand out there, and obviously the reduced track temperatures. So you might see some of the times increase, but just the way that they have their car set up, that can have a huge impact on the way that the balance and the handling has on the performance.
Would you shift your brake bias, Ross?
Oh, I'm sure they've been twisting those dials like, they were excited teenagers at prom. They're just doing everything they can to get any kind of grip and reliability out of the cars going into the different braking zones and some of the acceleration segments. And these hypercars, they don't have any ABS, but they do have traction control, and they're able to adjust their ARBs. So I imagine at this point, they're going to be trying to make the fronts pretty stiff and the rears as loosey-goosey as they can make it, while also trying to move some of that balance forward. Because at this point, just from what I've been seeing, I would probably want that understeer going through every one of these corners.
Well, I'm not quite sure what you were doing at prom, Ross, but I certainly weren't twisting dials. So there we go on that one. As you can see, that is not an overtake for position on the racetrack at the moment. I'm trying to work out if that is Gutierrez in third. Has Gutierrez just lapped Robert Molin?
No, it's not.
So who is that in front of Robert Molin then?
I would probably say that would have to be Goncalves.
No, Goncalves' livery is different, is it?
It's either
that could be the case.
Gutierrez or Lalonde. I didn't get to see.
Or Lalonde.
That's Goncalves.
Yeah, but Lalonde, if Lalonde has just overtaken Molin as well, so Lalonde.
There's Lalonde.
Lalonde. It's Lalonde. So Lalonde is quicker than Molin, but is behind Molin overall on the racetrack. So Lalonde has just managed to unlap himself with 49 minutes to go, because he is 55 seconds behind Michael Locke. However, that is not going to help him either on that one. Gray and Miller have gone back in front of McQuarrie, so that must have been the pit stop cycle. So McQuarrie, who managed to jump in front at some point like he did before, has now gone back into normal place. Holden leading GT3 pros with Walker and JT Tammy. I think that is pit stop orientated, because otherwise JT has just lost an absolute chunk of time at some point here as well. 48 minutes to go. This is getting very, very interesting indeed now, Tom. How is this next 48 minutes going to work out, do you think?
Well, the emphasis is going to be on how far Molin can go on this stint, because he's now 4 laps ahead of Dan Kirby in the stint. Oh, that's Lalonde running into the rear of one of the GTs.
Alan Holden.
Penultimate corner.
Alan Holden.
Alan Holden. It's Alan Holden. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And but yeah, it's going to be interesting now to see how further Molin goes on this stint. 2 laps ahead of Kirby, or 2 laps longer than Kirby on stint 1. 2 laps further than Kirby on in stint 2, along with the 2 from the previous stint. So he's 4 laps ahead of Kirby on the stint cycle. Can he do another 2 or 3? That is going to be what could decide it.
Well, he was at one point in 6th at the end of his last pit stop cycle. He went up to 5th after the next pit stop cycle. So it's going to be interesting to see how far he can get if there's one more here. We've lost Paulbert Reyes, unfortunately, out of LMP, out of the Hypercar AMS. So there's only 3 runners now, Chen, Goncalves, Meyer, in the Hypercar AMS, unfortunately. Obviously, we've lost Whitfield out of the LMGT3s as well. None out of Hypercars at the moment. So that's always... Oh, no, we lost Dan Scott, didn't we, out of the Hypercars there as well, Ross. Not many overtakes or as many dropouts as I was expecting, but still, we've lost 4 at the most.
Yeah, that's, I mean, significant, especially with the reduced field here. I know there are a number of drivers who just had different things come up that prevented them from joining the race, because we were looking at, I want to say that we're probably short by about a dozen drivers, which is a significant part of the field. I mean, that's basically what we have. It's 50% of the field right now, so a third of drivers overall for what we were anticipating, and that certainly would make a difference when it comes to a lot of the traffic around here, and some of the title fights. Obviously, you know, we got Cameron Barker up there tied with Herlock, and neither one of those drivers are here today, so it's left Dahlgren and Kirby to sort of be the main protagonist of that hypercar class, where they're fighting it out. Now, I don't want to take Gutierrez out of it, and obviously we've been following the case with Robin Mulling, but you know, watching them slip back through the field now, that gap is so significant. I don't think he's going to be able to close that off. He might be able to seek a podium, but I mean, he's well off pace, as we got a little update here, 3 seconds off pace, and that's a huge drop. That's something we didn't want to see, and I'm guessing that's probably because of the nighttime temperatures. They've really played havoc with the way that he's got the car balanced.
Yeah, massive jump in the Hypercar battle. Of course, we know that there's a battle between Chen and Goncalves for that second place. That one swap, that bad 2-3 laps for Goncalves, has just cost him 20 points. He will finish 20 points behind Jerry Chen. Chen will be on 280 with his 38-point gain, and Goncalves with his 27-point gain will be on 260. Tom, he's gone from being 6 points in front to being 20 points behind for Goncalves, and that's just losing 1 place in that Hypercar AMS.
It's a big swing, and now it's going to be down to him to fight back with what he's got left in him, but there's still some time left in the race for things to change. We are looking at Robin Maryland, been focusing on the lap times as well, because Troy Uyan, who has already posted the fast stop of the race, did a 1:48.7 on the last tour, 1.5 seconds quicker than the leaders. So his pace as he closes in on Suvic is going to be one to look out for.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that one as well. That's literally 2 tenths at the moment. You can see the guys on the screen going down into turn 1. Uyan pulls out. Is he going to be able to get it stopped in time? Nope, doesn't go through. So he's going to have to stay in once again. Through turns 2 they go. Now he's going to kink to the right for 3. Then down on the run into 4. So that battle's going to be even more interesting as we start going into back traffic. Kateranakis in front of us at the moment. Through the right-hander they go. And then it's going to be a run in through there. It's going to be very interesting to see through 5, 6, 7, 8. How much of a part does Kateranakis plays? He clearly plays some part, because Uyan is starting to get a little bit closer. They're not really sure which way to go. They do both make it through. Kateranakis played a part, but that's kind of expected considering they picked him up through 5, 6, and 7, and 8 there, Ross, as well.
Yeah, that's such a tricky part of the track, because regardless of what category you're in, it's always so difficult to keep the car underneath you. You have to be so on your marks just to make it through, because as soon as you get off, or you have to go off of that line, take a secondary because of traffic, it just slows you down so much. As you saw Uyan able to pull up. I mean, he couldn't really do much of anything with it, unfortunately, just because there's nowhere to go, as he gets a little bit slidey coming off of that corner. He's going to lose a little bit of ground, but not too much. I'd be interested to see. I think right now he's trying to just stay in touch with them to just be right there coming out of that final corner, because that's going to get him the pole down the long front straightaway, where he could probably make that move into 1.
Yeah, we're going to find out short enough as well. Tom, battle's still developing on the racetrack. Not quite done yet. Chen and Goncalves, that gap's down from 5.6 down to 3.9. So Goncalves is managing to claw some of it back here. Could be a battle that's going to take shape right at the end. I don't think Ian's close enough again unless he goes for a big old send from this far back. He thought about it. Big squiggly under braking there, Tom.
Yeah, but he'll have better try coming out of turn 2 here. He should have a good run on Simon Suvic out of turn 3. He needs to catch him by surprise if he's going to go through. There we go. Look, on the inside goes Troy Uyan. This should be neatly done into turn 4, and that was a clean pass there for Troy. And that was coming all along. It was a matter of when he'll get by.
Yeah, and he definitely did there as well. He was closing in on him through 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're looking for Uyan to extend the gap. He's got it out to 6 tenths, almost 7, touching into the right-hander of 8 at the moment. Did he get it? Well, Suvic is very slow through that corner. Rossi's just lost near enough 4 tenths on one corner alone.
Yeah, he's definitely loose in some spots. Oh, that's way wide. Yeah, he's definitely going way too deep. I think he's starting to lose some grip. And it's interesting. I would have thought the all-wheel drive cars would have just been eating up this lower grip kind of mentality. And certainly Dahlgren's doing that up at the front of the field. But I was kind of expecting like just all the way down through, you're going to see all-wheel drive, first, second, third. But as we can see here, just with the way that he's got the balance, it's obviously not working for him right now. And I keep going back to just how much the track has cooled off. We're down to 23 degrees and 26 for the air temp. So it's just really changing the balance of these cars, and they're just struggling to find that balance within the braking segments. It's wild. I would not have expected this.
Explain to the people at home, Ross, who would probably sit there and go, well, hold on a minute, why is the air temperature 26 and the track is only 23? Give us a little bit of rundown on how that is likely to happen.
Well, it's so much of the track temperature is driven by direct sunlight, which obviously we're in the dark right now, so not as much there. The air temp is actually done by the live weather, so they're kind of two different systems that are running in parallel, and the air temperature is supposed to influence the track temperature, so I'm guessing what's happening is just some of the mechanics in there are saying like, oh, the track temperature should be this, and it ends up just dipping it a little bit lower than where we are in the air, and that's why we're off. Typically, yeah, it's going to be the track is going to be warmer than the air because you got cars driving around it and whatnot. But hey, it's not impossible. It certainly does happen, especially in some of these environments. But yeah, they're close enough. It's still really cool. Either one. I mean, it's the temperature's quite low for what it was earlier in the day.
Jerry Chen just got in pit lane there. That's why that 30-second gap is just extended to Goncalves, who's retaken the lead. Is this going to be the boost, the kick up the butt that Goncalves needs now to stay in front, to jump that position back where he will be 6 points ahead? The reason for the big old gap, if you're sitting at home going, well, how's he lost 20 just by losing one position? That's because he come into this 8 points, he come into this actually 7, 8, 9 points away from Jerry Chen. So with that, from the 9 points, plus the points he's going to lose over the period of time, so 38 for the win, 27, that's another 11, puts him on 19 to 20 points. So that's how he's going to lose so much time, just by dropping 1 point on the race. Tom, we're coming in to the final part, should we say, the 40 minutes, the close down, the run down to the end. Where's this going to work? This is imperative for Dahlgren to stay where he is, to take that second place in the Hypercar Pro Championship. Can Dahlgren hang on? 9.6 seconds, Tom. What do you reckon?
It's distinctively possible. Simon Suvic is the latest to enter pit road, but I think he can do it. I'm amazed actually that Johnny Gutierrez has remained out there on with a single pit stop to his name, which by this point is rather incredible. But now,
he ain't counting his pit stops. Although Gutierrez, I don't think that 9X8 has got a tank that will last over 1 hour and 20 minutes. They're normally 20 to 25 minutes. I got a funny feeling, Russ, something's glitching out there a little bit, and on that one, because that's a tank and a half in it if he's going to last an hour and 20.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen sometimes, just depending on where their cars are positioned across the brake beams and whatnot. It's just a small technical foible, but yeah, he's got to be on his second position right now if he's running up there in third, unless somebody, like everyone else behind him, just had spun out a billion times. It's about the only way.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I'm inclined to not agree with what the timing page has told me at the moment. But Dan Kirby is in, so we know he's in for his third pit stop. Oh, and that's... Who's that? Is that Maya's gone off the circuit there ahead of Cherry Chen? I think it is Maya.
Let me go on to the delivery section. It is Maya there as well, but Jerry Chen's just behind. I think that's one of the pros in front of us. I think that's one of the Yuyans actually in front of us at this moment in time. Gray, McQuarrie and Miller. Now, this is interesting, Ross, due to the fact that McQuarrie seems to be out of a pit stop cycle somehow, because Gray and Miller are going into pit lane roughly round about the same time. McQuarrie then will go to the top of the standings, and then Miller and Gray will jump him again and go back in again. So although McQuarrie is catching Gray, I've got a funny feeling there's a pit stop cycle out of sync somewhere as well, as Dan Kirby's just got in pit lane.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that, and it's kind of going back to what I was talking about before, where the GT3s have a little bit of leeway in how they're able to put their cars and position their stops around here to either come in a little bit earlier. You know, maybe they had a slide or locked tires, and so now you got to change those out. And you could just do maybe like a quick jump and get out in front of people, or run it a little bit longer in anticipation of a shorter stop later on. So I think that's exactly what's happened here. But in either case, McQuarrie is starting to close that gap down a little bit to Adam Gray. He's about 6.5, 7 seconds behind him at the moment. And as we were talking before, Adam Gray, or Stephen Miller, needs to be out in front of Adam Gray. He's currently in third place, fairly far behind. I think he's probably about another 20-25 seconds off of Adam Gray's position, with McQuarrie in between them. But I think it's going to come down to what they can do between Gray and McQuarrie's cars. So that's going to be, I think, a 992 versus a Vantage when it comes down to the end of this race.
Yeah, you can see there Goodyear has just gone into pit lane. Dahlgren in pit lane. Going to find out where Molin's going to go. What is Molin's situation going to be? And how far, if he is going to get jump in front, how far he will be after this pit stop. It's going to be an interesting one. Kirby's 8.5 seconds back in front. Technically, going on what we've had already, Molin after the pit stop cycle should be in fourth, because he was in sixth and then he was in fifth after the last one. You know, just basic maths, I had one, and he should be in fourth place here, Tom. Can he really take this victory, Robert Molin, or do we think he's just that little bit too far away?
Well, he's only in front of Kirby at the moment. You look at the gap that Dahlgren had over Kirby before he came in. Surely Dahlgren's going to get out well before Kirby gets close, so he should be joined ahead of Robert Molin by that theory, but Molin, I believe, has gone through. So where is Kirby compared to Dahlgren? Dahlgren is not leaving the pit lane yet. Now he is so, but Kirby's got in front of him, James. He's done an undercut.
Yeah, Kirby's jumped him. Gutierrez has gone through as well. Kirby Dahlgren, that's not what Magnus Dahlgren needed, because without that win, he will not take second place. Robert Molin there still out in front at the moment as well. Massive difference on pit stop times on that one. There was about 7 seconds between them. So going to be interesting to see what goes on here as well. Gutierrez with the lowest of the pit stops, and he will obviously look to try and gain an advantage to see if they get that splash and dash. Ross, main parts of a 2-hour race though, you don't really want that splash and dash at the end, can you?
Well, that's the crux of Molin's strategy right here. I mean, if he's been able to extract roughly two laps per fuel stint, then that's going to put him about 6, 7 or so up at the end of this, which that's huge. Even if he does have to take his own fuel stop at the end, he's not going to be standing near as long. I mean, that's easily over half a tank that they're going to have to deal with. Every one of these drivers is going to have to come in one more time with 34 minutes to go on the clock.
Yeah, there are 20-25 minutes. It's going to be very hard if they can get most. We got them to 27. So they are going to be a little bit short on that one. Gray is still out in front, 10 seconds now ahead of McQuarrie. Tammy back leading the GT3s. That was pit stop cycle where he did lose the lead. Maya is again in front of Jerry Chen, but again, that's pit stop cycles as well. So is Chen and Goncalves. Goncalves down to 4.2 seconds here, Tom. He's slowly pulling some of this time back on Jerry Chen, but is he going to be enough, do we think, that he's going to be there and take the win at the end?
providing he doesn't make any more mistakes from Goncalves, because he had those spins early, didn't he, at turn 8. But it feels like he's back into a stride where he can close in on Chen in their own battle. That's Kirby going through Gutierrez on the fresher rubber, although they are on pretty much the same length of tyre stint, actually. That's a genuine change for position. Kirby heading on by Gutierrez, which is not good news for Robin Molin, really. I think he wanted Gutierrez to hold up Kirby for as long as possible. But if these start fighting, this will play more into the hands of Robin Molin, who's doing his best to extend the stint further and further. If he does another 2 laps at least, James, before he pits in, then he might, and I will say might, be able to go to the end without pitting one more time.
Yeah, can we see what the gap is from the leader on the timing screen on the left-hand side? We might be able to have a better idea on that one. He's only got 9.3 Molin to Dahlgren, and he hasn't pitted. If he comes in, Robert Molin, with 27 minutes remaining, he might be able to get that car to the end. Now that is a big challenge, and that is a lot of fuel saving. He's lost 1.5 seconds, nearly 2 seconds already. He's 7 seconds back. Ross, he's got to go for another 5-6 minutes, which is another couple of laps here, and he's always been 2 laps near enough ahead in the pit stop cycle. Can Robert Molin really stay out for another 2 or 3? 27 minutes was their maximum on a full tank of fuel, Ross. If he gets his to 27 minutes, is anything stopping him get there to the end and taking out that final stop?
I think that's 100% his strategy, James. He's going to try and eke this one out. I don't know if he'll be in on this lap or if he's going to be able to get another one. I have to go back and look at where his
He's always been about 2 laps ahead of the guys, 2 laps after. So this is technically his 2nd lap after Kirby, Gutierrez, Dahlgren stopped. So in theory, with this and one more, he ain't going to be far off that 27-minute mark.
Oh no, once he stops, he's absolutely going to be able to make it to the end if he keeps up the same pace that he's been having. And as far as his fuel cadence, this will be his final stop of the race. Everyone else is going to have to make one more. So he has them there. It's just a matter of maintaining that gap. He's starting to lose it. You can see Kirby closing it down. He's under around 6 seconds now. And those other 2 are right there behind. I mean, Gutierrez is gotten passed by Dahlgren. Didn't obviously hold him up very much. So I think right now, Molin is hoping that those 3 end up somehow tangling with each other, either because they get caught in traffic or have an incident or whatever else happens. But that's basically his only hope right now, is to be able to get as many seconds from them as he can.
Yeah, he's got the 6. If we have a look at the 3 behind, they are dealing with traffic at the same time. So it'd be interesting to see how or whether or not he can keep it there. Do we think, though, Tom, if he goes into the pits, goes into his pit stop in the lead and misses that final stop out, it's going to be very close for Robert Molin for the overall victory here?
Do you remember what happened in Fuji?
No, I've slept since then, mate.
Well, what I was going to say was Robin Molin was the one that was leading on the last lap because he did one less stop. And do you know who took the victory over the line? It was Magnus Dahlgren.
Yeah, because he ran out of fuel, did he? Ran the final corner.
Yeah, correct.
Ah, yes, he did there, Ross, as well. So, could history repeat itself for Robert Molin?
It's going to be really close. I think he's going to be okay on fuel because coming around, it is tight, but he's been able to show that if he's getting an extra 2 laps, it's about an extra 2 minutes an extra about 4 minutes on top of it. So, you extrapolate that out. He should be right in that window. It's going to be close, obviously. But, I mean, really, the thing we're going to be looking at here is just what they're able to do as they're slicing up the inside of Stephen Miller there. What they're going to be able to do in terms of having that position there in terms of timing right now. At 5 seconds, as Magnus Dahlgren is on the attack going down into turn 10, this is going to be the thing that Robin Molin wants to see. We'll see if that gap opens up a little bit more as Dahlgren's on the attack, but this is exactly what he needs.
Yeah, he does. He needs these 2 to go hell to leather. He needs Gutierrez to get himself involved as well. Gutierrez just passing Miller in the background. 28 minutes to go. He needs Dahlgren to get up there and start scrapping out. Every other gap a little bit more spread out. Garay, McQuarrie, Miller should jump McQuarrie, and a pit stop coming up somewhere. JT Tammy back at the front of the GT3 Pros. Jerry Chen 3.9 now, so we'll keep an eye on that one, Tom, as Goncalves closes in. The gap was out at 6, it's now down to 3.9 seconds for Vinicius, but he's got to keep it on the racetrack. That's first and foremost.
Yep. And now we are beginning to see the business end of this race involving multiple drivers in different classes, and we are hearing that Robin Molin's decided to come in with just under 28 minutes remaining. So that allows Kirby and Dahlgren through into the lead. Gutierrez will go through. Troy Uyan will head on through as well. We expect Molin to rejoin in front of Timon Suvic in 5th position.
Yeah, we'll find out where Molin comes out very, very shortly, and whether or not he's going to be able to hold on to 4th place if he can, ahead of Troy Uyan, which he can't. Uyan's just gone through. I think Suvic is going to be next on the agenda here as well. There's a nice little back marker for these guys to contend with through 5, 6, 7 and 8. It's a little bit tricky. There he goes, Dahlgren side by side. Molin's surely going to try to cut back. He is, both of them slipping and sliding, coming out the corner now into the left-hander we go. Don't forget, different lined left-hander. Is it both going to go wide? Why didn't he dive up the inside? That would have been a move there as well, Ross, because he had the opportunity, because Kirby left the door open.
Well, that's such a tricky corner. I mean, that vortex of danger is extremely deceptive as you're going in. You don't want to throw it too much, because as we've seen with so many other drivers, they can easily just wipe out the back of their car on their own, and if you've got somebody on the outside, that's just going to be more of a problem. So I think he did the right thing, just backing out and getting in line, because like I said, these cars they're right on the edge. You can see Dahlgren sliding all around. Kirby's having to struggle with this car balance too, and this is all allowed a little bit of a gap now up to the front. So I think he's opened that up by about maybe around actually no, not too much. Let me look back over there right now. So yeah, Molin went in. Yeah, I totally missed that part. Sorry. So yeah, Molin went in. I was trying to find him on the timing. I was so distracted by this battle here. So yeah. Now it's the game of time to see what Molin's able to do. He can't speed in the pits. Obviously, that's game over. And he just needs to get out of there and then just put in his best, most efficient laps to get to the end. We're at 25 minutes to go. He should be able to make it if he's filled up a full tank, which I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I would have thought he should have done as well. He should be able to get it. 27 minutes was the maximum for Molin, but he needs these two to have a Barney with each other to help slow them down a little bit. Goncalves now down to 2.7, Tom. That gap is coming down more and more with Vinicius and Jerry Chen as we look at this lead Hypercar Pro battle.
Absolutely. 3 seconds the margin between Chen and Goncalves, so that battle is just as intense as what it is with the battle for the lead. And yes, Kirby sliding, and then Dahlgren had to duck out, and as he ducked out, he briefly lost control, but somehow they both gathered it all up. So these two survive for now. I will say Robin Molin's got clear track ahead of him, which is good news for his race, so he can start pumping in some fast times, although he will need to save fuel whilst he's at it.
Yeah, he's going to have to, but I think he's going to be doing, we'll see how he gets on, is whether or not how he plays Timon Suvic. He really doesn't want to hang around with Suvic too much though, Ross, does he? Surely letting him through might be a little bit easier for Robert Molin, and using Suvic as a bit of a tow machine.
I mean, that could play out. It all just depends on car balance. I mean, Robin Molin he can't have anything slowing him down at this point. He needs to be able to put in the exact time lapse that he can get, just getting maximum efficiency and time out of the car. Considering that he came in and had an almost 1 minute stop, he changed tires, he topped off with fuel. So I think at this point, he needs to actually press and bring up those lap times, because I think he filled up his full tank, and we're in a time zone now where he can actually use all of that fuel. If he needs to back off a little bit, maybe towards the end, he can probably do that, with a few laps to go. But he needs to get that track position. So he's got to go. Now's the time to go.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think his fuel-saving days are done for Robert Molin. It's now just going full bore This is going to get very, very interesting here as well. One of the closest battles we are going to keep an eye on. Don't forget Concalves and Chen. That gap's gone back out to 3.3. So I'm not quite sure if Concalves has had another issue. Dahlgren's just about to try and go up the inside into the left-hander. Kirby says no. Dahlgren's weaving around all over the place. He's trying to find that gap, Tom. He just cannot find it at the moment.
Yeah, and Suvik has got by Molin as we speak, although Molin's come back on the inside. So Molin is down to 6th position by being passed by Suvik. So we expect him to use him as the tow to get the, well, basically help save fuel instead of just draining down the fuel as the minutes tick down. Kirby and Dahlgren are still at it, JP. I'm really looking forward to see how this plays out in the remaining minutes before we expect them to pit in for one last time.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on the lap times at the moment of Timon Suvik and, well, especially Robert Molin. Molin's stopped lap time last time was about 2 seconds slower than Timon Suvik. I can't see how that's a continuation. I don't know if Molin really needs to be doing that at the moment. But Dahlgren got Kirby in his sights. Gap's closing. Dahlgren's jumped to the inside. Is it me, or does Dahlgren just not look too comfortable as he's gone through? Kirby made a mistake, and that's allowed Dahlgren to go through there, Ross. But neither of these guys look overly comfortable on braking it and accelerating out of corners.
No, not at all. They're really struggling with grip at this point. Those tires, they're screaming, even though I want to say they changed them out not that long ago. And you kind of have to here. There's just not enough grip to be able to get away with double stinting these tires. So they are doing maximum attack with whatever they have. And right now, I mean, like I said before, Dahlgren's able to take advantage of that all-wheel drive mechanic to be able to get him through some of these corners, especially those slow ones. But you're right. I mean, he's sliding around. That could come back to bite him if he's using his tires quite a bit more. We still have over 20 minutes left in the race. So if it comes around and he's abused those tires too much, we could see Kirby just kind of walk back up to him, and then this fight is right back on. But this is exactly what Robin Molin wanted to see. I mean, he wants these two fighting each other, using up their cars, slowing down their overall pace, so that way he can maximize his time now. I mean, he's, like you guys said, he's behind Suvik, he's behind Troy Uyan and Gutierrez, but all of them have to come back in probably the next 10 or so minutes.
Yeah. We're going to find out how this one goes through the back markers of Alan Holden. Dahlgren goes through. Kirby has not. He's lost a chunk of time. 1.6 seconds for Dan Kirby. Through that last little bit from 13 or 11, 12, 13 down through the final corner. He's now going to try and clear Alan Holden as well. Hypercar battle's gone back out. Oh no, he's come back down again. Teetering on and around that 3 second mark. Again, a massive jump in points. Concalves 260, Jerry Chen 280. If they swapped, it's Concalves 271, Jerry Chen on 265. So Concalves needs it to take that second place in the championship. JT Tammy led GT3 Pros constantly, has done, and never really lost it. Adam Gray leading the LMGT3 AMS. He's with McQuarrie and Miller. Miller should finish in front of McQuarrie. If there's a pit stop cycle, them three have been a little bit off all the way through the race. So we'll keep an eye on that one. 1.8, 1.9. Tom, I don't know what Kirby's happened to Kirby, but blimey, losing 1.7 seconds and he's only got a few corners. Massive drop.
I think his confidence has been knocked actually by that mistake at turn 1, because it's not the first time I've seen him make a mistake at that corner. It has been a weakness for Kirby all race. As for Dahlgren, well, he's done well not to run into Kirby a couple of times, but he's chosen the moments to actually force Kirby into a mistake, which has helped him back into the race lead. But as we've been mentioning time and time again, Robin Molin is not exactly going quick, and I think by the time Dahlgren, Kirby and Gutierrez have done their last stops, I think they're going to be in front of Molin, JP. I don't think Molin will have done enough.
That's the problem, Ross, isn't it? When we turn around and say he's got to go, and he ain't going at the moment from Robert Molin. Is this, by him not going, gonna lose this? You know, last lap time again says a 51.026, 48 for everybody in front. Is he really going to be able to do, for Robert Molin, is he going to be able to do this? 53, sorry, for Molin, 51 for Suvik, 50 for the boys in front, 48 for Dahlgren. Molin's not going fast enough, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, around a minute away from the lead. There's still a chance. I mean, you're going to have stuff going on here with traffic and the way that they come into the last pit stop, which obviously coming in and getting topped off, there's always the risk that you're going to get a speeding penalty, which would just immediately evaporate any chance you have if you're any one of these guys in front of Robin Moling. But yeah, he just needs to stay focused and run as fast as he can to get up there. I mean, he might still have to be pushing a bit to a specific pace in order to make sure that he can make it to the end and not have a moment of Fuji where he runs out at the line. But I think that he can do a little bit more than what he was before. If he's been able to top off a 50-second pit stop, that's a lot of time. And I mean, he's not far away from that right now, but I mean, you can see Magnus Dahlgren, he's pushing away and he's trying to maximize his laps. Another 5 minutes or so, a few more laps, and these guys are going to be back in. I'm wondering if maybe some of them are going to try and dive in early just to, maybe do a little bit of an undercut at the end, especially Kirby. I mean, looking at the way he's struggling around the corner, I don't know. It's all for play.
I don't know if he's playing enough, though, Molin. 52 last time, 51.4 for the guys in front, 49 for Uyan, 51, 49 and 49. The slowest driver in the top 9, in the top 8 at the moment is Robert Molin. He is not going enough. I don't think, although he saved enough, I don't know if he still feels he needs to. But Dahlgren in pit lane. So we're going to find out. Can Molin clear Dahlgren here, Tom?
I think he'll done enough, yeah, I do, because he won't need as much fuel being put into the car as last time. And if you're going on the theory of 52, 53 second pit stops or whatever for a full tank of fuel to go in as well as tyres, I can't think how Molin is going to be able to get in front of Dahlgren. He's too far behind.
Well, we're going to find out. Molin's still closing in at the moment. I don't know. He's not going to clear Dahlgren, and Dahlgren's already going to get that second stop or that final stop done here. This should be Magnus Dahlgren to the end. Robert Molin is nowhere near. I think he's going to have a run now. He's in 13. He's in turn 13, he's got turn 14 to go, and he's got 15, 16. He's still going to be about 20 seconds out behind him. In other words, he's still nowhere near him currently, Tom Evad. Not fast enough for Robert Molin. Unfortunately, not going to take that victory today.
If the camera was on the outside of turn 1 as the cars are coming down the pit straight, Dahlgren would be out of shot before Molin even got there. That's how far behind Molin is.
Yeah, he wasn't there. That's what I mean. He, although the fuel saving, he did a great job on it and everything else, and we thought he'd be able to go to the end on this stint. But if he goes to the end, he needs to be pushing. He needs to be going out to leather. Dahlgren's just got in, and he's still proving that he is currently, 24 seconds, give or take, ahead of Robert Molin there, Ross. Molin just weren't going fast enough.
No, he wasn't able to get in there, and yeah, I'm wondering, though, if Magnus Dahlgren took enough fuel. That stop, I mean, it would have been shorter for sure, but...
he's only got 15 minutes. He only needs half a tank, if that, though, Ross. Don't forget.
A little more than that, yeah. 13 seconds, that probably should be enough. It's going to be close for him, especially when he was doing full push laps against Kirby. And Kirby, obviously, we saw him stay out. So he's going to have even less stationary time when he comes in. Did he come in? Did I miss that?
No, you didn't miss it, Ross. You're fine. You haven't missed this one.
Yeah, so he still has to come in. That's a true splash and dash. I mean, he's only going to need a handful of laps. Yeah,
Dahlgren was the first one to push in from the top 6 for that second stop that we said right at the end. So, yeah, at the moment, Kirby has not been in. Troy Uyan, has just gone into pit lane as well, so that's another one. Molin's got to try and at least clear him if he can. If he can't get out in front of him, then he's definitely not going to take it here as well. There's drama in sector 1 at the moment. We'll try and find out what's going on there. Concave's in pit lane. This is imperative now, Tom, for Vinicius. He's got to stay ahead of Chen. We've got a funny feeling it may have been Magnus Dahlgren, as you've just heard Ross screaming our heroes. Who seems to forget he's in our heroes, and as well there, Ross.
Yeah, I just saw it on the monitor. We'll probably get the replay up here before too long. But Dahlgren caught in an incident into turn 1 with multiple cars.
Yeah, it's Alan Holden, Michael Locke, and Katarinakis on the brakes. Dahlgren, oh, Locke goes through. Oh, Dahlgren tries to go through. There's one of the Aston Martins there. I can't remember, I can't see who that was, whether or not that was JT or Mr. Walker, Matty Overton. But one of them got caught up there, or James Walker it might have been actually as well. Unlucky for Dahlgren, but it could have been worse. It could have been worse for him there, Tom.
Yeah, and he's lost time thanks to that, as Magnus Dahlgren, which won't help in his pursuit. That was one of the Aston Martins going off the circuit, by the looks of it, on that replay we just saw. By the way, Dahlgren is still in play for the victory, although that error from Michael Locke has not helped his cause. We're going back to Overton, who's gone off the circuit here. Has he lost connection or something?
It's got to be technical, isn't it, Ross?
Well, he's sitting there unless he stalled it. I wondered if maybe it was from the damage in that incident at turn 1. And then he had to straight line it, although he's just not going. I'm not sure what happened to him there.
No, not going anywhere at this moment in time either. So we'll go back to live pictures and find out how this one's working out. Molin managed to get in front of Troy Uyan. So Molin now in 5th place. We know Dahlgren's already pitted. Cam Molin jumps Suvic. Suvic's just got into pit lane as well. Goncalves come out in front of Jerry Chen. That's the important bit. 3.8 seconds from Vinicius Goncalves to Jerry Chen. They were the other way until the pit lane situation, and now Goncalves has come out in front. Tom, for Vinicius Goncalves, that is blatantly important in that Hypercar Ram second place battle.
100%, and now he needs to make no more mistakes from here in. I think one more mistake and that is curtains and his chances of finishing second in the Hypercar Am Drivers Championship. Dan Kirby is doing his best to bridge out enough of a margin on Magnus Dahlgren to come away with a victory, and that's Matt Overton's car on the bottom end of the screen, still stationary, so I'm hoping that we'll see Overton continue, because I imagine there'll still be yellow flags over there. You can see some other drivers pitting in, but Kirby is now in for his last stop with around about 11 minutes remaining.
And with penalty, a cut track. He got too many points. I just saw it going around turn 1. He got his last one, so he's going to have to come in.
Yeah, unfortunately there as well. He did get a penalty, unfortunately. So Johnny Gutierrez is going to lead the way. Dan Kirby, obviously we know there. Magnus Dahlgren's going to be in 3rd. Molin 4th place now. Did get ahead of Suvic. Gutierrez going past the back marker. And here is a replay of the penalty.
Watch the white line on the inside. Yep.
Who are we looking at?
That's Chen. Yeah,
That's
just
Chen.
Yeah, a little bit too much curb.
Jerry. Right, okay. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Dan Kirby.
Well, we were a moment ago, although, yeah, that is Chen. Sorry, I thought those were orange mirrors for a second. No, that was Chen. Yeah. Yeah, he got a penalty. Sorry, that slight.
What? I am so confused. I think we've been having 3 conversations here, and I was still on the first one.
Well, yeah, and in this case, Chen, yeah, he had a problem because I mean he really needed to stay out in front of Goncalves, and that's definitely not going to help him there because he's already behind him, and he still has to go into the pits. I think he just did that. So
yeah,
he's going to lose pace to Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just got in there as well. John Mayer there in 2nd place, Chen in 3rd. That should be Goncalves taking 2nd place in that Hypercar Championship. We'll see how that one carries on here as well. Not long to go now, Tom. Getting down to the business end almost.
And Gutierrez, well, if he's not pitting again, well, if he is pitting again, how far is he leaving it? Because surely he's not going to be able to go far enough. I mean, there's 9 minutes left. I'll be amazed if he gets to the end, Gutierrez, considering the gap he's got. I mean, he may try and slow down a little bit to conserve fuel for when he comes in for a minimal amount of time before he absolutely blasts it. Well, not by drifting through turn 1 like that, Johnny. You don't really want to be doing that on the set of tyres that you're on. He's giving it his all, but I don't think drifting through turn 1 is the best idea to go about it.
No, definitely not. You kind of want to keep this back end, Ross, clean, isn't it? This is the moment where you sit back and you think, right, I need to be clean every corner. I need to make sure I don't make mistakes. It's 8 minutes to go, especially for the likes of Goncalves, especially for the likes of Gutierrez, JT Tammy, and Alexander McQuarrie leading the GT3 AMS again. Somehow that guy must have he's got a better pit strategist than Ferrari, clearly there, Ross, because he always ends up in the front of the GT3 somehow.
Yeah, big shout out to the GT3 field here today. It's a little bit smaller than what we're used to seeing for sure, as Troy Uyan goes for the pass around Mulling and knocking him back down to 5th place. But yeah, JT Tammy, obviously, he had that championship fight with David Yunt, and unfortunately David did not come in today, so he's kind of left unmolested for the rest of the championship. Alan Holden doing what he can to close that down, but he just doesn't have anything for him as he rolls off James Walker's Troy. Just a little bit exciting through that turn 1 segment. And Alexander McQuarrie, he's holding off right now. Stephen Miller currently ahead of Adam Gray. I'm not sure if there was some pit cycling going on there, but I know that he was closing down that gap. It was shrinking about a second or so every few laps as we watch Troy Uyan. Yeah, just lets it go. That's so easy to do there in turn 1. We've been seeing it all race long, especially now we're at the end. The cars are lighter, balance is shifted, tires are worn out, and now is that Gutierrez is taking his stop. Can he do it? I don't know. That transit along pit road, I don't think he's going to fall back, probably behind Kirby, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't know if Gutierrez is going to be able to get in and out or whereabouts he's likely to be. Kirby, you see Dahlgren closing in on him. Dahlgren's going to retake the lead. Kirby's not a million miles away. Gutierrez still not moving. Dahlgren, he is moving now, but he's already going to lose the place to Kirby. Gutierrez should be in 3rd place if nothing else, but it's still going to be Magnus Dahlgren. It's still going to be Dan Kirby. That's still going to be the battle to the end here, Tom. It was the battle at the beginning. It was the battle in the middle. And Tom, it looks like it's likely to be the battle at the end.
Yeah, all the way to the end. I will keep an eye on Gutierrez's lap times, because I'd imagine with the amount of fuel he'll have put on, he can afford to really go like clockwork, because he's only got 4 laps left of this race with the time ticking down. But Dahlgren just needs to keep the car on the circuit, considering there's actually quite a lot of traffic he has to navigate through, and that is that Uyan going past Stephen Miller behind. I think it might be John Uyan, isn't it, that's putting a lap on Stephen Miller, or one of the Uyans anyway. But either way, Dahlgren looking good for the victory with a 2-second margin over Kirby. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. We'll come to that in a moment. But you just say this is the whole thing now when Hypercars and GTs trip over each other. They're on different laps to each other, and it makes it even more of a nightmare for the overall leaders.
Yeah, big old motion and movement with Dahlgren, and I believe that's Walker behind. Walker doing Dahlgren a favour though, because I don't think Kirby managed to clear him. No, he did not. Out of 13 on the run down into 14 now. Kirby's going to clear that back marker. Dahlgren is in front. There's the leader. That is Gilles Lalonde, I believe, who we're coming up to lap once more. Goncalves leading the Hypercar AMS from Maya, but that's because Jen got himself a penalty. Tammy out in front, McQuarrie still leading as well. So it's a great situation there, but it isn't, unless that's finishes Goncalves from Hypercar AMS. Then it ain't Gutierrez. So the only 9X8 is Lalonde. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, Gilles Lalonde.
It's a 65. Yeah, it's definitely Lalonde who's getting out of the way.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I had Lalonde there getting out of the way. Dahlgren 1.3 now, 1.4. Ross, 4.5 minutes to go. Ross, if you could put in a prediction, where's it going?
I'd probably lean towards Dahlgren. I mean, he's been able to show that he's got a little bit of an advantage. I think it's a lot to do with that all-wheel drive as the tires start to go away. It's just gives him that little bit of an edge, and he's able to push just a bit more than Kirby can while staying stable. This fight right here, we saw Troy Uyan go ahead of Mulling earlier. I think that he can probably get him back unless Robin Mulling has suddenly turned on the jets. I mean, some of that coming down to the end here, it can always be so tricky when you're very close to the edge of your fuel number. So he might be pushing a little bit now just to maintain some track position, and then he's going to have to cut it back towards the end. But I really thought Robin Mulling, by the end of this, he'd have a hand on the podium, and unfortunately, it just did not go his way. He was not able to maintain enough of the pace throughout that middle segment to be able to stay up there with the leaders. It's a real shame, too, because it was a really solid strategy and just didn't come together at the end.
It was in that third stage, though, wasn't it? In the final stage, he needed to push. He didn't push. But if he had a full tank of fuel, he should have been able to push. But
yeah, I'm wondering.
That's the problem.
I don't think he was able to get quite as much. It is an interesting thing when you're on a full tank of fuel, even if you've got fresh tires, if you have been settling into a certain rhythm, a certain pace, trying to switch over to that maximum attack can sometimes just throw things off enough that you don't actually see those numbers improve because you're going a little bit beyond what you're used to from the earlier part of the race, and the car balance is different and everything. It's really difficult to do. I mean, Robin Mulling can make it happen, but it just didn't work out this time.
No, he definitely did not have the pace there, Tom, as well. We're coming down to the final few minutes here once more. Magnus Dahlgren, Dan Kirby, 1 second there as well. And you see Robert Molin and Troy Uyan in the bottom right-hand corner still considering the fight as well. We'll go back up to full screen for the last couple of laps, see how these guys are going to be getting on, and see whether or not Magnus Dahlgren, Tom, is going to hang on to this one.
Well, like I say, no more mistakes from here on in, and it'll be perfectly fine. There will be just one more lap to go at the end of this. Dahlgren on his way to victory, which would be enough for him to take second place of the championship. But there we see Molin and Uyan still tussling it out for 4th place. This has been ongoing since the last round of pit stops, really. I have to say, I'm surprised Uyan hasn't disposed of Molin since he got onto the gearbox of him. He's made a couple of mistakes in his attempts to get by him, but he is running out of time to make it work. Molin has got the gap down to 20 seconds on Gutierrez, but it's by no means any consolation. He had hoped by making one less pit stop would have paid dividends for Molin, but it just wasn't to be for him today.
No, it definitely wasn't for Robert Molin. He's done the best that he can going in here. Magnus Dahlgren now going through the final corner. It's going to be the last lap. Dahlgren, Kirby, Gutierrez. It's going to be a Dahlgren fight for the final lap here. Dahlgren's going to go over the line. He's got one more lap to go. Concalves and Maya. Concalves should wrap it up if he can keep it on the racetrack. Gutierrez in 3rd. Molin and Uyan still battling it out as well. McQuarrie still leading GT3 AMS with Miller 2 seconds back from them. It's going to be an interesting one now. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed here, Ross. Molin and Uyan still battling out. Contact between them both. Down in the bottom right-hand corner. 57 seconds left on the clock. Robert Molin, Troy Uyan, side by side, going down the start-finish straight here, Tom.
Yeah, it looked like Molin was fighting for mechanical grip and he wasn't able to get it. And Uyan should hold on to this now. Through into 4th place. So that's Molin has something to say on that. On the inside into turn 1, twitchy on the brakes. Heavy on the brakes is Robert Molin. He goes out too deep. He needs to not run into Troy Uyan on the exit. But thankfully, Uyan survives. And that should be 4th place sealed for him. Great move.
Yeah, Uyan now is going to look at going forward now as well. Molin's going to try and jump up the inside. That was a big old dive and a half there from Robert Molin. Troy Uyan's not going to be overly impressed with that. Dahlgren on his run through now. He's only got one more lap to go, but Robert Molin, big old send on Troy Uyan. Is Troy going to be overly happy about it? I doubt it very much. These guys coming into turn 8 here as well. Troy's definitely going to be looking to try and send that back, I would have thought, Ross, if he can.
Yeah, that was amazing. I didn't think Robin Mulling was going to have anything for him, considering how much it looks like he's got that car spent, but sure enough, he went right back up the inside. Troy did not try and press it. He certainly could have turned in more, but he didn't want to see either one of them wrecked. He didn't give him a flash of the lights, so this will be good.
Dahlgren goes over the line. It's a winner for Magnus Dahlgren. Great win from him. He's taken that victory that does put him in 2nd place in the Hypercar Pros. So well done to Magnus Dahlgren. He needed that win to jump Barker, to jump Herlock, and he's gone and done it there as well. Gutierrez comes over the line in 3rd. Bottom right corner, Troy Uyan, final jump from 13 to 14. He's got one more. This is his very last corner for Troy Uyan. He's not going to be able to get it. It does look like Molin's going to hang on to 4th place. Uyan's probably not going to be best impressed with that move, but he did get it done. Robert Molin comes over the line in 4th in the end, which is whereabouts. Oh! Oh,
he get him?
yeah, he get held on to fourth. Goncalves is going to come over and wrap up the win in the Hypercar AMS. That moves him above Jerry Chen. That puts Goncalves in second place. JT Tammy is going to wrap up the... There he goes up the line as well. And then we got Alexander McQuarrie, who is going to come over the line and wrap up the GT3 AMS there once more. Alexander McQuarrie once again. Let's bring you up the results, the final results here as well of this 2 hours at Bahrain. Okay, in the Hypercar Pros, Magnus Dahlgren is your winner. He moves himself up. Magnus does as well. Takes second place in the championship with that win. Dan Kirby in second. Johnny Gutierrez in third. Robert Molin, fourth place. Sixth after his first stop. Cycles, fifth after his next stop cycle, and fourth after the third one. There you go. Big send on Troy Uyan. Just wish Molin could have done that from the beginning. Timon Suvic in sixth place, then everybody else in behind that. Vinicius Goncalves takes a win in the Hypercar AMS. He goes on to 271 points. Finishes ahead of Jerry Chen. Takes it away from Jerry Chen. John Meyer, Ryan Paulbert, Reyes DNF'd, and Eric Monet DNF'd as well. In the LMGT3s, JT Tammy takes that win. James Walker gets second. Alan Holden third. That is not, there's no movements in that. There's still going to be JT Tammy taking the win in LMGT3's championship. David Junt second as well. So Kataranakis and Overton in fourth and fifth. And then GT3 AMS. Alexander McQuarrie again jumped to the top of the standings. How that was, I do not know. As Miller and Gray continue to have their fight out as well. That will keep, I believe, give me 2 secs, that will keep Adam Gray ahead of Stephen Miller. Miller gets 20. Yeah, it will keep him ahead there as well. Great fighting, Tom, as well. 2 hours at Bahrain. Stunning race so far. Well, a great final finale, should we say?
Yeah, we had a brilliant finale, didn't we? I think you were...
I couldn't get my words out. I was
going to say exactly that. No, we were treated to do a brilliant race, didn't we? Robert Molin tried his best efforts with the strategy. Didn't quite play out for him. We saw a brilliant battle between Dahlgren and Kirby throughout most of it. But I had to say, Uyan and Molin right to the end. Well, that was quite something. It was ruthless, but fair.
Yeah, Ross, some inputs from you?
You know, there are plenty of times when you don't have a very satisfying season ender, and I think this one was definitely one. You know, not as many drivers able to make it, unfortunately, but you know, the ones that were here definitely put on a great show, and certainly some of the drivers, like you were saying, you know, they could have had a slightly better finish to their season. You know, Robin Molin certainly not quite getting up there as he wanted, but you know, great to see everybody coming out. Fairly clean race and good racing all around. It's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's have a chat with that Hypercar Pro winner, Mr. Magnus Dahlgren. With that win, I don't know if you're aware, Magnus, by winning this race today, you have put yourself in second place in the Hypercar Pro Championship. Well done for you.
Thank you very much. Hello. Yeah, I had an inkling that I would be P2.
Yeah, Magnus, do you have a fan near you?
Yeah, sorry, wait. Hold on.
That's great, mate. It just sounded like you were in an absolute wind there. It was like you're in a hurricane or something. Yeah, dude, that's put you in second place now. You had to win the race to get second. Did you know that going into this?
Yeah, just a few moments before the race, we checked the standings and also the points scoring for this race. So, yeah, I needed to be P2 or P1.
Oh, I don't even know. No, P2 wouldn't have been enough.
Really? Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
27 points for second place on your 172 would have given you 199. Even if you got pole, that would have been 200.
Okay, all right. Somebody's getting fired for that.
Yeah, that's fine. Fire him, Magnus. He probably works for Ferrari anyway. I won't worry too much on that one. But great racing there. So you and Dan Kirby having a nice battle all the way through.
Yeah, it was a blast. Tense at a few times and easy going at the other times. So it was great fun.
Yeah, well done to you, buddy. Well done for wrapping that second place up in the championship. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Frankly, to everybody, but mainly to Storm Gang Simulations for the awesome mod, and also CMS or Champion Motorsports for hosting this fantastic league, and also to you guys who's sort of like brings it all to life, you know. So and also to people watching. So I just want to say thank you for everything. It's been great fun.
All right, man. Well done for you, Magnus, and look forward to hopefully seeing you next season.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
Take care.
All right, next up, I'm going to go Hypercar AMS. I want to have a chat with Vinicius Concalves. He went into this in third place in the championship. He had to beat Jerry Chen, and he had to win to overtake a 9-point deficit. He did go in. He was beating Jerry Chen. Then he had some slip-ups for a few laps and ended up in second place, but he managed to get it back when Jerry Chen got a penalty. He takes second in the Hypercar AM Championship. He took it away from Jerry Chen by 6 points. It's, of course, Vinicius Concalves. Vinicius, welcome in, buddy.
Hi, thank you. Man, what a roller coaster it was.
Dude, you had it wrapped up. You had second place wrapped up at one point, and then what happened? It all went wrong for a few laps.
Yeah, this Peugeot car is I'm retiring this car, man. This car is a piece of work. I started the race like I had to pay a drive-through, so I wasn't like much. I didn't have much hope there, but I was quick. And then after when I saw that everyone was getting bunched up, I pitted before everyone, and somehow I got clean laps. So I think it put me all the way up in first place. And then when I knew the hard tires on the front wasn't gonna work on the cold tarmac, so I had to switch to mediums. And the balance of the car, even though I practiced in both conditions, the balance of the car went away. I had to meddle with the anti-roll bar a little bit, and anti-roll bar, driving, watching the mirror, watching the time, everything I was a little above my head there, but I found a balance, and I was able to get back, how do you say, to put everything together again. And somehow I think Jerry, I think he got a drive-through there on the last stop. And well, I have to watch this race again because, man, it was really something. I'm out of words. Even though I just described the race right now, I'm out of words and out of breath.
Yeah, definitely did as well. Well done to you. It was an absolute stunning run. You wrapped up second in the Hypercar AMS. So great job from you. Look forward to hopefully seeing you in the 2026 season. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, sir?
No, I just want to thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys, from the broadcast. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ross, Matthew, everyone that put this championship together, and all the drivers that show up to make great races. And I really look forward to race next year again. I'm already missing the season. I want to race more.
You'll have to join in with some of the other series there, buddy, as well. But well done, fella. Congratulations, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
All right, next up we'll go to GT3 Pros and pick up on Mr. JT Tammy. He went into this race with a championship fight, but then Davidson didn't turn up and JT just took it all on his own. Didn't even need to really finish the race here as well, but he did go out there. He put on a strong show. He won the GT3 Pros, and he's won the GT3 Pros Championship. JT, well done, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. I thought it was going to be a battle, and then I looked on the timing, and Davidson weren't here.
Yeah, no, that was a big surprise. Same with Elko. Neither of them were here today.
Yeah, and it was going to be, I thought we were going to have a great fight, but as you're the only championship that was open going is, did you sit back and think, well, David's not here now, I don't really need a race, and go and put my feet up?
Not really until we took the green flag. And at that point, it was just I still had to have a good race. I still had to stay out of trouble. So I just continued on with the race strategy as if they were here and tried to do the best I could.
And you did a good job there, sir, as well, taking the victory.
Yeah, definitely. It had a very clean and quiet race. It's a good thing.
Hey, I was going to say, don't moan, mate, because there were some people who did not have a good, clean race, JT.
Notice.
So, well done to you, dear sir, as well. Look forward to seeing you in 2026, mate. Are you staying in GT3s?
No idea. I haven't made any plans yet, so we'll see. It's gonna depend on what the cars look like once we get testing.
Oh, okay, mate. Well, look forward to seeing you out there, JT. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, buddy, as well?
Just the same people I usually do. You guys putting on a show. Definitely, Alec for helping pay for broadcasts. The CMS community, the stewards, everybody that helps run the show. Definitely into teammates as well. We got to wrap up another Dark Thunder championship in GT3 Pro. So yeah, big hats off to everyone. It's always good coming back out here every Saturday, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, you definitely do, buddy. Well done, JT, and hopefully see you on the track in 2026, mate.
Yeah, hopefully.
Congratulations, bud.
Thank
you. Right. Hold on, what's going on here? And the final one of the evening is Mr. I always appear at the top of the standings, even though I was in third place, Mr. Alexander McQuarrie, taking a win again in GT3s. Alex, how are you doing it, sir?
Today is total luck. I'm telling you, man. Like, these guys' pace are so fast today. I had no grip, just like everybody else, but Adam and Miller, they're putting down some hot laps. So I was in the race, and I was like, I need to do something. Like, these guys are way faster. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to two-stop this thing. So I two-stopped it, crossed the finish line, 0.01 fuel. It worked. So no tires, no nothing. So it was pretty sketchy, but I did it.
No, hold on. No tires at all throughout the whole race.
No tires, safety map. You just, doing the two-stop, man. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, I was sat here and I was like, how has he done it again? I said, he's got some spell in his car going Harry Potter and just evaporating yourself to the front. I said, because he was in third. And you shouldn't have won because Gray, as you said, and Miller was so much quicker.
Yeah.
But the pit stop cycles between you three were all over the place. And, I couldn't tell which way was going to go or anything. But you did it again. You wrapped up the championship. So, a great job as well, bud.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. It's just this was like probably my toughest win of the year. I didn't think I was gonna pull it out. It came out, my benefit. Got lucky though. So
I have heard on the grapevine, Ross has said that because you've won GT3 AMS, you go straight into Hypercar Pros.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna have to retire then, man. I'm gonna have a penalty every race. I don't know, man. I don't think so.
No, dude. Are you coming back next year, though, sir?
Oh, for sure. I'm coming out for sure. So hopefully I can have another good year. This year was actually, I was very surprised the outcome. I was on it. So, yep.
All right, man. We'll look forward to it as well. Alex, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, hey, just I don't want to fumble this like last time. So, hey, my one and only girlfriend, Lori, she allows me to do this. I love her. You guys are not going to give me trouble today. I really appreciate her, and I appreciate you guys, CMS, Matt, George, everything. It's awesome season. I'll be back. All right, guys?
Yeah, well done. Well done, sir. Congratulations, and I'll see you next year, hopefully.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye. Oh, well, there you go. Alexander McQuarrie there, Tom, making sure he gets his shouts out right this week.
Well, he got it right there, didn't he?
He did, and he did a great job as well. Ross, great season of the Moderns come to an end there as well. Some great championships, great battles, and some great worthy winners.
Yeah, it's been exciting all the way from Daytona to Bahrain, and I was really hoping that we'd be able to see some of those fights we had earlier on in the season play out through to the end, because certainly at the top end of each one of the fields, to be honest, they were really, it was fisticuffs the whole way through, but we still had some really good fights at the end. I'm really excited to see how things are going to be implemented next year. There are going to be some changes. One of the key ones is that penalties will actually be retroactively applied to the races where they occurred. So there'll be time displacement instead, as opposed to having to serve drive-throughs and everything. So I think that's going to really help a lot with drivers coming in. They're not going to feel like they're entering a race at kind of a loss already if something happened in a previous time and they got a rap on the knuckles for it. So we'll actually get to see some really good driving from the green flag drop in every single race. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have some new cars on the grid. We're going to see a lot of the same drivers coming back, but we're going to see some of them switching around in different classes. Obviously, we just had some talks recently, so a few drivers already switching over. That I have to say that was a beautiful livery that Paul Reyes had today. It was actually a reflection of the Porsche 936 testing livery. I wanted to. I know he spent a lot of time working on that, so I'll give him kudos. But yeah, a great season overall. I think we've got a lot of changes and updates to make the next one even better.
Okay, as well, and well done, Ross, as well. Congratulations on providing a great season for us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tom, that's it. Modern's come to an end.
And what a season it's been, with there being so many twists and turns across the whole campaign. Congratulations to all our class winners for putting on a fantastic show since it all begun back at Daytona at the beginning of February. And approaching, well, we are at the midpoint in November. It feels like 2025 has flown by for this series, and I expect a whole lot more to come for when 2026 arrives. So then a good rest from all of this, and we'll do it all again in the new year, won't we?
Absolutely. We've got two more coming up from VWSC. We've got the NARS final round at VIR. That's on the 20th. That one. And then we got Sandown after that for the historic final round of the historic there as well. But it's been a great season. Look forward to see how these cars look coming out in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Big shout out to everybody in YouTube chat as well. I see a lot was going on all the way through. Sorry I didn't catch it all, but you guys was looking like you were having great conversations, so that's all that matters. But for myself, I've been JP. I've been alongside Tom Cairns this season, Alex Goldschmidt this season, Ewan O'Leary, Ed Hunter, Jim Cunningham. We've all been in here as well. But one constant person that's been here for a lot of the time is Mr. Ross Smith on the Moderns. And of course, how can we forget the man in our hero as well, Mr. Paul Glover, who has been here for a lot of this season. So much love to all of them for joining ourselves. But I've been JP, and as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on a track next season. Good night.